to give any opinions without running it by all of my prying eyes first. That's how I get my opinions. I just look for other people to voice theirs, and I say, you know what? That sounds good to me.
That's right. Yeah, I like it.
That guy's right. You just know when it hits. The one that vibes.
Did Ogryn 4-stack beat Horus? Dude, Horus wouldn't even get to play the game. You just hit him with rumblers, he'd explode.
Dude, yeah, Ogryn 4-stacks are brutal.
They are insane, especially if you're running Ogrenheimer stuff.
It's like, yeah, like that was because I just made a video yesterday on just like what I think would be it's a really solid comp that I have a lot of success with. Anytime I get it for a Havoc stack, I'm like, okay, one person Shout Vet, one person Chorus, one person Ogrenheimer, one person just melee RBDs with Dog, and it's like, you know, it just face rolls every engagement, but also just 4 Ogryns is also equally valid.
I mean, yeah, that's literally it, right? And it's
yeah,
like,
the gold toughness is nice.
I skimmed it, and
yeah,
I was like, yep, that'd do it. That's what I was gonna do if I was gonna try and cheese the game as hard as possible.
Yeah, it's like you can have all these fancy synergies, but at a certain level of player skill, the sheer power of Ogryn of RBs just does like overwhelm everything. So you don't really even need those fancy schmancy synergies.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Let me make certain I'm going. I don't know if I tagged you the right way. I think is the original sc9tk would be how it would tag you.
Yeah, I'll tag you as well. That way we can have it. We haven't had it all fared up here with Mr. E.
Both feeding off of each other.
That'll work. Yeah.
Well, that's we'll have just about everybody.
Well, so congratulations again. I think you hit 20 recently.
Hey man, yeah, thank you. It's I've been I really just like decided to lean into it once I saw that RBDs was coming out, and also, you know, I know that it wasn't like the most exclusive thing in the world, but it felt like the world to me when Fat Shark was like, hey, yeah, it's a creator program. I was like, I'm gonna make the most out of this.
It's so great. I'm so happy that you and a lot of other people got a chance to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it was definitely very cool. And I reached out to Catfish and let her know. It's like, yo, like I have to thank you. Like, you know, having early access to it was massive for the channel, but also just like I like being part of that sort of thing.
It's really fun. It is really fun. Like, for sure. I know I've enjoyed being a part of it as well, and it's not even always been just like a thing that I'm like trying to do. It was just I like the video game and I enjoy playing it. Mm-hmm. So,
well, let's see. I've got my stream up and running, so now I can start to give opinions. So, what was your question? Just about Chorus, like generally how I feel about it, or
we'll get there.
Okay, yeah.
So
right.
I thought what we would try to do is establish. So I've got an agenda in a little list here. So
he's got an agenda, guys. You heard it.
I do have an agenda.
He's gonna nerf everyone.
I'm gonna kind of just FYI chat. The way this is going to work is I'm going to kind of try to lead the show here, and Mr. E is going to be my opinion expert for the other side of the conversation, so there's somebody to talk to instead of just me shouting into the abyss. And I have set up an agenda here so that we can kind of all be on the same page. It's right on screen right now. If you're watching my screen, it's 4 items. We're going to establish a balance anchor, and what that means, you know, it's kind of come up in both our videos. Is like, where should we try to balance stuff around? Like, what is the power level that is good for the game? And then the next question will be, and once we kind of at least reach something resembling an agreement on that point, which was probably going to be the most contentious part of the conversation, we will talk about some of the class outliers that exist, and then we will go into enemies and weapons. So that's my concept there.
All right, sounds good to me. I'll keep it a surprise. I won't look at your document. Maybe you can blindside me with it, and I'll have to think on the fly. That's when I do my best thinking, by the seat of my pants.
Perfect. Well, I mean, it's not filled out by design. It's gonna be notes. So number one, let's just talk about where we think the balance should shake out. So I watched your video, of course, and you said quite specifically that you think veteran with plasma gun is about where you would place.
So I want to walk that back. I want veteran post nerf plasma gun. If we are assuming that the leaked, I don't know if you saw that quote unquote leaked document that proposed that the primary fire for the plasma gun is getting nerfed significantly in terms of its damage and penetration and stuff, and they're pushing the power towards the range fire. But I do think that every weapon, you know, my vast majority of my complaints with the balance in the game, especially from the weapon front, is that there are so many weapons that are just not meeting that bare minimum for like viability against metal or against like a variety of threats, and they're just not ammo efficient. And so, clearly the direction that they are trying to push players is Havoc. They're incentivizing players. They've reduced the main mission board to just one mission board now. There's no longer this whole big stepping stone where players have to go to Auric. So it seems like to me there's going to be more and more emphasis put on Havoc being the ultimate goal for players who actually stick with the game. And so I think it makes sense in my approximation that more weapons should have more ways of being viable into that, whether it's through the weapons specifically or through stuff within the talent trees. Yeah, I skew high on that power level because I do think that there's a lot of room where this game can be more difficult, but not in the avenues they've explored so far. More enemies, like multiplying numbers of enemies and multiplying their health, is not going to solve the difficulty problem. It's going to have to be other stuff, which we'll talk about later. But yeah.
So I think that's an interesting point. So we're gonna take veteran with the updated plasma gun as our baseline. I'm gonna say that, for me, the anchor point for balance should stay on specifically Auric Maelstroms and not Havocs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because the majority of the player base is down there and Havoc is a niche difficulty. And so, and here's the other advantage to that. So if you, and I realize this is, we're comparing apples and oranges right now, I'll wrap back to it. But what I'm thinking is if you balance around Auric Maelstrom for the most part, right, and you keep that in mind as your balance point, Havoc will always stay hard because Havoc will always be a difficulty layer that is above
right
anybody's expected to be able to achieve, right? Like Auric should be, I'm a really good gamer, I've beaten Auric, I can beat Auric in, and eventually I can beat Auric in duos or whatever, is like really good difficulty, right? And that's how it used to be for like 2 years, right? And now there's this whole Havoc thing, and it's really hard, and it's really fun, and there's strategies you can use to make it a lot easier if you cheese it or whatever. But if you're playing it the way you play in Auric right now, which is, I think, in a much healthier state than Havoc in terms of weapon balance, then the game will always stay hard. And like, if the niche gamers have to sacrifice a little bit of what's viable in Havoc so that the game can be good overall, like I think that's acceptable.
That's fair. Yeah, I could settle for lower. Since we're negotiating apparently, but I could settle for lower than. I think there's a lot of weapons that I really, really enjoy, and I do enjoy the Auric Maelstrom. If Auric Maelstrom was more standardized, as someone pointed out in my chat, Auric Maelstrom is all over the fucking place, right? You have free vegs, and you also have the ones that are like extra dogs and 20% cooldown reduction. It's like it could be super easy and it can be super hard, but I do appreciate that overall it doesn't like swarm you with 1 quadrillion crushers and things like that. Those are the times where Havoc just kind of invalidates the lower performing or like the non-fit weapons. And if there was some standardization to Havoc seeds where you wouldn't get as much of that specifically, we could see other stuff emerge. But like the prevalence of like, okay, yeah, I'm playing, some games you'll play and like, wow, using the auto gun was pretty good here. Like I played a game with, I don't know if you played with Riken. He's a very skilled veteran. He's got 4,000 levels, right? He was playing with like a brace auto gun and like a tack axe or something. He was doing just fine. But like, if you come up against a map seed where it's just all crushers all the time, all crushers, all maulers, you're fucked. And it's like, if they tune that stuff down, I think we'd see a lot less of the problems too. But I'm not certain how much of that is like intentional or what, but so yeah, I do think it makes sense to balance around like a where crushers and maulers and like super armored high threat enemies like that are a more rarity, and we also definitely should not optimize for like the crazy horde size that Havoc can pull out, right? Weapons shouldn't be, and that's a stance I think we're both going to agree on. Weapons should not be cleaving umpteen million percentage of everything. That's a big problem for balance of the game. I don't know if I rambled there, but yeah.
No, you're fine. I agree with you. I think that's kind of the crux of the issue is like, if there are weapons like, I don't know, just like take the auto pistol. Like the auto pistol is arguably the worst weapon in the game right now. And I actually don't even think it's that bad. If you take it into an Auric, you can do a lot with it. But as soon as you run into a wall of crushers and maulers, it or
Right.
even,
Or
scab,
even, like,
scab
3 of
ragers,
them.
which
Yeah.
like I just was playing a Havoc the other day, and like I literally like 30 ragers walked out, and I was just like, oh my god. Now there were dregs, and actually the auto pistol's crazy into dreg ragers, by the way.
Right.
But if they were scabs instead, or
You're
like a
done.
bulwark wall
You're
or something
done.
like
Yeah.
that, to Nico Kuhn's point, it's like you would just have like the worst time. You would have to pull out your melee weapon. You'd have to have the right melee weapon to handle that problem,
And
right? Which most of the melee weapons are a little bit better.
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, like, melee weapons on the whole are doing better balance-wise. Like, obviously, there's still outliers within them, but I don't have anywhere near the problem with melee weapons that I do with ranged weapons in the game, because there are no melee weapons that just, invalidate 100 enemies at one time. There is no flame staff equivalent of the melee weapon, nor could there ever be, because you simply cannot hit that many enemies, and you have to put yourself in a threat to do it, right?
You do.
So, yeah, like, melee will always inherently be more balanced, but I am fully, and I don't think that I have that many people against me at this point, but I am fully on board the nerfing dueling sword argument at this point. I love the proposed changes they had on there. We're making it more of a defensive, reflexive-based weapon, because the biggest issue with it is that it is no counterplay allowed. You just go up, stab a crusher in the head, special attack him to the head, and then stab him again before he does anything, and it's like gameplay over. Like, there's no interactivity, and that's the part that, like, so many range with them when it's just like, okay, just shoot them in the general direction of the enemies and everything blows up and everything dies. So yeah, if we could like balance around
or it doesn't do anything.
Right, or it doesn't do anything at all, but like, yeah, it's, if we could just balance around a standard where like there is some modicum of skill and aiming required for every weapon, and there's no weapon that's just like clearly better than everything else, I would be perfectly fine, balancing them for, like, I think like low havocs would probably be appropriate, right?
That's fine.
Weapons need to be good at killing bosses too, as well, because like bosses, that's another thing, is like there's certain weapons that just like don't do anything against bosses, and if you're gonna dump like 50 million bosses on people in Havoc, then you're gonna need to have these on your team. I don't know. That might be a different conversation.
Yeah, so I think we, interestingly enough, I think we agree. We don't maybe have the exact same language for it, but for the most part, there's some agreement. I think I'm actually more comfortable with a wider range of power than you might be. Like, I think it's okay that the auto pistol kind of blows. I think it would be probably better if it was a little better than it is, but I'm fairly comfortable that it has like obvious downsides, and it does have some upsides. And like, if you're just using it for the use case explicitly of, just for example, pulling it out and killing a trapper, it actually works for that just
right.
fine. And like, if you're playing Zealot and you want a tool that does that, and you just feel like the way that works is cool and fun, then like that's great. And I think that it's okay to have weapons like that in the game. I think the problem starts to be is like, I don't know. It's like, and I also want to say this. Maybe this is sort of a tangent, but the one thing I don't want to have happen is I don't think ranged weapons on the whole should be able to easily deal with crushers and maulers.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. Those should be special.
Basically, like, there should be a couple, like plasma. Okay, fine. Plasma bolter, fine. There should be costs associated. Like, plasma should have to right click them instead, and there's a risk of blowing yourself up, and it takes time and all that. And bolter should have horrible ammo economy, and like that makes sense, and that's kind of how it is. So we're close, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's okay if the braced autogun can't kill crushers. Like,
I think weapons like the braced autogun are like almost there. I mean, when I did my range balance tier list, it was like needs a little something was my category. Like, I think those weapons are so close to being in a position where I would consider them like good enough for like 99% of gameplay. Like, they are usable. It's just that, like, man, it's just like they just aren't. Like, you feel like you're wasting ammo on some of these guns, to be honest, or like they just don't have enough ammo. Like, the Shredder auto pistol is just like a big waste of ammo. It's like one of the biggest problems with it. It's like it only carries as much ammo, it carries less ammo than the Vrax Mark V infantry autogun, which is just a better gun hands down in every respect. So why, like, why exist when you have an evil twin that's like 10 times better than you? So yeah, I could totally like get behind some smallish tweaks like that move those guys up just a little bit. And I generally don't have, as you said, I don't have a big problem with weapon power disparity. I think that can have a bigger range because it comes down to the users of the weapons. The classes have to be way tighter than they currently are because it's not even fucking close to fair right now. Like, it's whacked out.
Yeah, and I think so. I'm just gonna put this on the table as well. I think that it's nice that there is an advantage that's not spoken about having weapons that are a little bit wider on the spectrum of what's good and bad, which is that if someone wants to self-nerf for the sake of flavor, right, they can do that.
Right. Yeah,
if
right.
you go take, you can beat a Havoc with the lasgun, and it's actually not even that bad. You can beat. I have a friend who just like top scored against like 3 RBDs with a Lucius lasgun. Like, he was just destroying the world. And so, and these were not
just
bad
cracked.
players. I mean, obviously, everybody was cracked, but
He's
like,
just cracked.
it was crazy. And I was just like looking at this, like, what the hell is happening? And I don't think it's that bad of a gun, but it does have a very specific feel, and it requires a certain build to do, and that's okay. But the thing I do agree with is, like, we're not really, like, the width is too wide, and some of the outliers are forcing there to be way too much spam, which doesn't feel
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a point. And that was a point that you made in your video, because you specifically tackled the Rumbler and the Flame Staff as, like, outliers in that sense. And, like, yeah, like, that is the problem. I kind of wanted to do, like, a Photoshop, like, Pirate Software mimic for that when I was talking about it in my video, because, like, it's like a exponential curve. It's like a curve, right? And our weapons have to stay above that curve, or at least close to that curve. And the Rumbler and stuff are such high performers because they scale with the curve. If the curve goes up, they go up by necessity because they're AoE weapons and they have massive impact.
Yes,
and
exactly.
so the curve, like, if you raise the curve in order to exceed the threat that those weapons are posing, they will be very, very hard to put underneath the curve, and everything else is going to get gapped. So the harder they make Havoc, the better those weapons are going to excel. So there needs to be some way to bring them down. And it's the same way that I feel about, like, certain outlier abilities as well. It's like they are so far above their competitors that buffing other stuff to be competitive would be just a fool's errand.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the autoguns, you said they need a little something. I agree with that. They're close enough, and if we pull a few things down and maybe we shift some of the balance away from just, like, 100 crushers every time you walk into a new room, then I think they'll actually have a niche, because they're not that bad, and they just, I don't know, a little extra cleave, maybe a little more ammo efficiency into some targets, and, like, we're good, like, done. But when we are talking, so on the flip side of that, current plasma, not necessarily rework plasma, which we don't know what that actually looks like or feels like to play, but, like,
I like the ideas posing the thing. I mean, I do
too. I like the ideas too. But let's just say current plasma. The problem is, I don't know if you've ever seen it. If you take current plasma and you shoot it, like, the horde density that you can get into, like, a Havoc, it scales because it has 100 cleave.
It has 100 cleave. And that's exactly why they hit the cleave. They hit it from, like, 100 to, like, 6 or something in the proposed thing, assuming that's even real.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, like, it's those crazy cleave weapons, which they've cut down on in large respect for, like, melee weapons, but there are those ranged outliers. So yeah, those high points, they have to go. And I don't know, I keep trying to, like, express that to my community, and of course there's the people who never nerf anything. But if you don't nerf those outliers, people will find them and they will gravitate towards them, and then you have to balance the game around that, right? The first time you use Shout Veteran, it changes your life. You suddenly realize how much better Shout Veteran is for your winning and for, you know, just general outcomes than Infiltrate or Executioner's stance, and then you never go back. And for 99% of players, that's what they're interested in, is winning the games, accomplishing the games. And so you'll gravitate towards these obviously more powerful options. So, you know, and this is a thing I've said umpteen times, so, like, I don't think, like, lower investment players that only have less than 100 hours in the game, can recognize when things are 10, 15% out of whack, but they can definitely recognize when they're 25, 30% out of whack, and then they'll pick those things, and it's not even a choice. The first time they get shown by one of their experienced friends, oh, this is crazy, they're done, and then there's no more thinking required. I like a game where there's, like, you know, hey, this thing is 10% worse, but if you get, like, really good with it, it's pretty close. Like, that's a cool game for me.
That's a cool game for me too. I like to play the weapons that are, like, 10% worse, but if you get really good with it, you can try. I mean, I'm the chain axe guy. That was my thing.
You are the chain axe guy.
I'm cool with, like the relic blades are a perfect example of where I think kind of the Zealot's peak should be, because they're really
agreed.
Good,
I love that weapon.
it's amazing, but it does have some downsides. It's kind of slow.
Yeah,
and
it's
got hefty
slow.
swings.
I think that would be a great
It does take
fantasy
more
for
than
the
one
Zealot,
hit
though.
to kill a crusher. You know, it's okay.
Oh, no,
Like,
not two.
Unless you do like the fancy stab tech, or FOTF it, right? And it's like, okay, cool. We've got a weapon here that's like on the top end, and then you can take like a weapon that's a little bit lower down on like the lower end. Like my chain axe is on the lower side, but I'm really good with it, so I can play the game and get a pretty big score. Mark 4 chain axe is very good still, but Mark 12 is horrible. But we'll get to that later. Do chat, let me know if Mr. E's turned down too much. He looks like he's in a good spot on my stream, but in terms
Yeah,
of
they
my
just told
audio,
me you were
just
too
let me know,
quiet,
okay?
so I bumped you up. You should be good now.
Thanks, yeah. Okay, so we're kind of in the same anchor point. Like, I think that Plasma Vet should probably be about where everybody else gets benchmarked against, up or down, right? Like, I'm not saying everybody should be as strong as that, or everything should be as strong as that, but I think that that's a good sort of like peak, or like Relic Blade Zealot should be like a good peak of power. What do you think of that statement?
Yeah. I think Relic Blade is, and I've said this before, I think Relic Blade would be an amazing baseline for the class, and I would love if the class was more thematically based around like Relic Blade style stuff, because it's just such a good feeling weapon. It really fits with the class fantasy. I admired what they were going for in making the Relic Blade in making Zealot like also a speedy assassin, also that stuff. But at some point, the having like every weapon available to you on every class is a problem for the classes. And I'm glad that RBD says a smaller selection is tighter in that sense. But yeah, I definitely think it's that's a great baseline for weapons. Strong, but definitely has like significant designed in downsides.
So I think, and let's just be clear, I'm talking that would be kind of the peak. That doesn't mean necessarily like literally the strongest possible thing, right? But it could be like we're anchoring there, and then there can be plenty of stuff that's below that point. There are a few things that are above that point, but if it gets too far away from that, that's bad. That would be kind of my
yeah,
theory
that makes sense.
here. Okay, so we're gonna say Vet with reworked Plasma, Zealot with Relic Blade. These are our anchor concepts. So if anybody in chat wants to argue with me, that's totally fine. But I think that, well, Ultra Gravy, to your point, that it's a little too easy. I think it's okay. It's a power sword, and it's also, I think it's worth mentioning that it's like we're talking about this being as like the peak of the power curve. Like there has to be.
Right.
I'm just gonna say this right now as a theory statement for everybody listening. This is a 40k game. I put this in my thing. You have to have flavor in your game. You can't make everything gray. Yeah. It can't just be like this is 10% stronger than this and this is 10% weaker than that.
Yeah.
There can be some peaks and valleys here. We just don't want to get so far away that there's like one thing you take that's dominant and everything else is basically throwing. Like,
I think that's
to avoid that.
One of the cardinal sins also the Dueling Sword commits is that it's just one of the most uninteresting weapons you could possibly imagine outside of its movement set that like you could possibly envision. So you get no flavor and it's like stupid powerful. There's like almost no counter argument to picking anything else. So yeah, I think that if we could get weapons, I mean it would be a long shot, but if we could get a host of weapons that all have as much like interplay and mechanical skill peak as the Relic Blade, I mean I would be living in DARKTIDE heaven.
Yep. Okay. I feel like we're really actually on the same page.
Yeah,
here,
so
which
far.
is, like, it's nice.
Until you tell me we need to nerf
a
chorus.
I've been very careful with my opinions on chorus, and that's because I understand there's a body of people who really like it, and I think that's fine. And it's not my fantasy for the game, but I think you can.
No, I think it's kind of boring personally, but it's very effective what it does,
right,
and I will play to effective stuff. I am like, as I said, like I'm a results oriented. Oftentimes, you know, I want to win at the end of the day. Like I like to have fun. I'll play with fun stuff. But it better still be good enough to like win games, and I'm not mechanically like that skilled of a player, so I do need my crutches from time to time. That's what I'll say. So chorus is a nice way for me to chill out, talk to the chat. I get 7 seconds to look at the chat every 20 seconds. It's pretty great.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then let's continue here, and the next thing is I want to talk. Speaking of classes, I want to talk about class outliers. So I kind of have our notes here. I'm just going to fold this so we can see, so that everybody understands what's going on screen. And we'll pull this in. Okay, so next up on my list is, this was the first part. I guess I will just do this so that I can put the notes in the section that I made for this. Look at me being prepared and then not remembering that I prepared. So, cool. This is our balance anchor. So, classes. I feel like we can all agree that the Arbides and the Ogryn trees, while overpowered, seems to be the general consensus in the community, are really fun to use because they offer a lot of variety. Like you can run a good build on like any tree, and you can pick all the cool nodes without getting taxed to death, and it's like it's good. It feels nice.
Yeah, they're definitely. I would so much rather, after seeing the difference between these trees and the previously existing trees, the still existing trees for those poor saps, I would so much rather live in a world where the game difficulty has to get buffed in some way in order to compensate for it than lose the power and flavor of the classes. Or they could just like take some small like tweaks to like percentage stuff, but generally like the skills, like the abilities and how powerful they are and stuff like that, I wouldn't want to see that stuff changed. It feels good, and also understand that like there's a ton of players out there who they're mechanically not that gifted, and it really does help them to perform and get to higher, more interesting level content, and I don't think it hurts even high-end players that much to have classes in that power range, as long as there are sufficient challenges, pushed against them.
I think that's really true. Actually, I was thinking about that today. So today, I was watching, before this, I was watching somebody's footage, because I'd asked for footage from people. I was watching somebody's footage of their Heresy game. They were playing RPKs.
Yeah.
And they were in Heresy, and they were using an auto gun, and I just... I don't know how to say this in a way that, like, I'm not trying to be mean to this person in the slightest. It's just they were doing things that I would never do. And
not optimal.
I would never
Less
make,
than optimal.
Right? And, like, of course they are, because they're playing in Heresy, and they feel like they can't climb above Heresy, right? And so, obviously, that has to do with the skill thing.
Right.
The skill component. Like, they're walking around, I'll hear, like, 3 whooshes from behind them, and they'll just eat every single one of those hits. You know what I mean? And it's
exactly,
like, okay, well, this person just, like, doesn't know. And it's like, okay, I mean, fair enough. The game doesn't teach you that well, and... All right, it's good to see this gameplay for me, but there you go, right?
This is something that, I put out a video, a long time ago now, after somewhere between the Ogryn and the RBD's thing, and it was about, like, hey, is Ogryn kind of overtuned? Like, is it kind of stealing, like, the essence of what it means to, like, get some skills at this game? Is it preparing newer players for just not at all knowing how anything else plays? Because, like, on the Ogryn, you can't get stuck in the Horde, because you can always dodge out of it. He has immense stagger, so he doesn't have to, like, counterplay. He has stupid damage resistance, including to his health, so, like, chip damage is pretty much a non-existent threat. And I just, like, did the whole thing, live commentated over, just walking through... At the time, there was Auric Heresy. So I just, like, walked through an Auric Heresy and killed everything by myself. And then I was like, look at what I can do. And players were like, dude, I would never, ever, in 1 million years, be able to do that. Like, I don't know what you're smoking. So it does, like... There is a lot of, like, in-baked skill that we, as 2,000-hour players, I don't know how many you have, probably 3,000 or more at this point, we just assume are there. So, listen, I'll give people their crutches. I think it's perfectly fine, because I can always take them off, right? I can always push the difficulty. And clearly, if you watched my stream from 2 nights ago, I don't have any problem losing 18 games in a row playing as RBDs and Ogryn and Zealot. Like, clearly it's not powerful enough to carry my shitty ass. And I'm in, like, the top couple % So we can go more powerful. I don't think it's really threatening, especially, like, the lower classes. Bringing veteran and psyker up is not going to make the game, like, world easier or anything.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's kind of there's a domain where we can have our cake and eat it too here, which is it's been kind of occurring to me, because, like, okay, you typically are using and running, like, a chorus build, and everybody agrees that, like, if you're gonna run like a Havoc, like, having a chorus or a couple of choruses just makes the game easier. Like, it just does. It turns off the enemy for a while. It it gives you that over toughness, whatever, right? If you keep those mechanics around for players to play with, you can have some things in a talent tree, especially abilities and keystones, that just win,
Mhm.
right? The trick then is to give things that exist a skill curve based abilities their place. And actually, I'm going to go back to Chorus for a second. Chorus and FOTF are like the perfect example of what you can do.
Yeah.
So Chorus can get you through a game better if as long as you have people on your team who are playing and whatever. FOTF doubles its damage typically. Like if you play a Havoc game with me and you're playing a Chorus Zealot and I'm playing an FOTF Zealot, I will double or triple your damage.
FOTF,
and that's actually
pumper.
But FOTF is much harder to do. Like you risk dying a lot more unless you know really what you're doing.
You
You're
have
really,
to
really
perform
good, so.
on your own. It's like playing Lone Wolf versus playing, with the dog, right? The dog can provide you safety and insulate you against fuck ups. It can also insulate your team against fuck ups. So Lone Wolf means you got it all on your own shoulders. So like FOTF is just like, okay, you need to be performing at X level, and if you do, you're gonna have really, really good results as a reward for being such a absolute DPS pumper. But if you want to just kind of like make certain you have this baseline of contribution, Chorus.
Yes. And so I think there's a place in every tree for something that is strong but easy, and I think there's also room in every tree for something that is strong and hard.
That has
and
a
I think
low,
that's kind of like
low skill floor, or like low. I don't know. Skill floor is another thing, but like you need to. The more skill you input, the more reward you get out of it. But if you have low skill, it's going to be worse than the default standard strong thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just down to like, okay, you've got capacity for that because we've got 3 trees, more or less, right? But it is important also that things not be so widely broken that there's just these enormous sort of like brain off crutch type balance situations. And the reason that's important, even though I know they're important I know it can make it easier for players to play at some difficulties and so forth, is because there are skills you should be required to gain in order to get to a higher difficulty. Otherwise, the game can't be balanced, right?
Yep.
Because like the difference between being able to hold W with Rumbler and like use a
gun where you have to aim,
confidence, right?
yeah,
and just you don't even have to aim. You just shoot the floor and hold the W key, and like the game dies. That's not healthy for anybody, and people will optimize the fun of the game out of their own game, and then they will go somewhere else and play that.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm definitely worse at the game for having played Ogryn and having played RBDs. Like, once I made strong builds on the Ogryn and played him for a good amount, now I go to like psyker and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, guys. I'm too washed. I can't. I physically can't.
It's hard. It's hard to go back to. It's
actually fucking hard.
It is. It is actually hard. I mean, I went back to my Zealot and I was like taking way too much damage, and I was like, oh, right, I can't stand there on this class. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And yeah, I think we can. So all right, we know we can narrow that down. So here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to say the next thing is let's do some reworks. Let's talk reworks. I don't think we need to buff the classes very much, actually. I think that Zealot with the build, the FOTF build, or the Chorus build that is available, and there's Zealot's in an actually okay place because 2 of 3 of his abilities are
he's pretty
decent.
close. Yeah.
And his power level's pretty high. He's never been bad. He's always been good. But he does take some skill to play. That's fine. Unless if you run Chorus, it gets easier. That's fine too. We just discussed that that's fine. My thought was, if they're going to do a rework on Zealot, let's try to like leave him alone, for the most part. Like not the shape of his tree. But I just mean, like, let's not add another 40% damage to his.
The guy doesn't need any more damage. He needs more ways you can play him. Yeah, because he's got all of the weapons in the fucking game available to him, which I don't love. But they all of his builds play pretty much identical, right? It's your choice of ultimates, and you barely have a choice outside of that. There's like a very clear optimal path, and this is again that thing I was pointing to earlier, where like the second and newer players, they're all over the fucking place. You ever just use inspect from social and like look at some random like 16 levels Zealot in the Morningstar? They're all over the goddamn place. But as soon as they lock into knowing that top right path is where you go, and then getting until death, it has such better results that they'll never look back. And that's what I want to avoid.
I haven't played anything else other than top right in so long.
Yeah, because it's just
I will say that this whole conversation came up, and I was like, I have an idea. What if I go actually like take the top right and the top left of the tree? Because like that's what Arbitrates does, is it takes all the toughness nodes up top. So does Ogryn, right? Like you just can get all of them if you want. So I did that on Zealot, and I lost a few of my damage nodes. That's fine. That's actually what's on screen, by the way, as I'm running that. And my toughness bar
felt more stable, but it's definitely not Arbites, because Arbites is not required to get kills to get toughness.
Right. He just has to hit
the big
enemies
thing
at
for him.
all.
Yeah, he just has, like, he can just actually just jump the air. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
But fine, I'm not necessarily trying to take away that flavor. I just mean, like, hey, if we can improve the shape of the tree, the layout of the tree, the class will get buffed by doing that alone.
Yes.
Right? Imagine you run my extra toughness nodes build, but you don't lose out on any talents because you don't get taxed all the way down. Perfect.
So many taxes. Great. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
There's so many taxes.
I think,
and like if you get rid of that, it's buffed.
I think a big thing with the Zealot is just going to be he has a ton of nodes that are just terrible by design. Like he probably is the most guilty of having like the steepest contrast between S and D tier nodes. Like the guy has probably at least like 3 or 4 nodes off the top of my head that I could be like obviously D tier, and they're all kind of clustered together too, unfortunately, in large portions of the tree. So you just avoid them. You just don't go there, and then all the S tier ones are all on a nice big line. You know, I think it, you know, even though it makes the class way stupid powerful, like Arbites, he's got S tier nodes and A tier nodes all over the fucking place. Like, there's nowhere you can go that's wrong, and so that does mean that you can build a build that's interesting and plays into almost every difficulty just fine, and you get to like experience that rather than just having one cookie cutter that like performs and everything else sucks. So yeah,
no, I think that's exactly right. Like,
yeah.
I think we could do to see some of the bad nodes improved and make it easy to path around to get the stuff you want. And that would be a buff, and it wouldn't, and it might be, you know, hopefully not a crazy one, because he doesn't need crazy buffs. He just needs like variety, and he needs a little bit here and there. Somebody asked what I think of the blitzes, and that's the other thing is the thing I hope more than anything else comes to Zealot, and that comes to like the 2 things I want more than anything else on Zealot and a vet and psyker is easy
free
access
choice
to
of
all
blitz.
the
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to do that, though. Based on, I mean, just look at the RBs, look at the
Yeah.
Ogryn. They just made it the free choice, and it's the sensible thing to do, right? It allows more interplay between your choice of blitz and between your choice of build, and so then you can build around it. Like, you can play a Arbites who's a lone wolf with 2 different, like an aggressive grenade or a defensive grenade. That makes sense. You can play a dog focus build and choose to go for the shock mines because you want extra control instead of having the dog be the control. Like, it just makes sense from a diversification standpoint, and it doesn't like threaten the balance of the game or anything. You know, blitzes are you know, limited, so I think it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But that does mean that they need to make all the blitzes like have some level of parity, because I think that like Zealot struggles from having like, I don't know. Again, that's hard to judge. I think a lot of Zealot's blitzes are probably close to being well enough balanced. It's just that the positioning is so terrible that it's not even.
Yeah,
that's not even close.
You can't take that. Yeah. Stun grenades are amazing. They've
Stun
always
grenades are
been
really
good.
Yeah.
And they are so strong, but you can, and yes, you have to pick them up. But there's enough pickups in even a Havoc game to be able to use them from time to time. The problem is you can't take them. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck mathing there. And
Good luck spending 5 nodes to
is,
get nothing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
No
And
power.
the same thing is going on with, you know, the same thing is going on with his Inferno grenades. They're good. Like, I've taken them on builds, and they're useful, but you can't take them, so you take knives, because you always can use, because you can path through knives, and that's their only reason.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I love knives. They're amazing. They're really strong, and like.
But I do get tired of
just,
playing with knives. Like,
me too. I want to do something else sometimes.
But
so,
yeah.
These are all things to say, which is, okay, we basically agree, everybody agrees, like, hey, it's cool, we can there'll be a little bit of buffing if we change the trees to allow to be the sort of shape that Arbites and Ogryn is in, but we're going to, it's worth it because the creativity there is going to be there, and it probably won't be that bad. And ideally,
No.
I think it's cool if Zealot, we already talked about our anchor point, if Zealot stays mostly the same, but we have better shaped trees. That's cool. A little bit of buffing, no big deal. Huge buffs would be concerning.
Well, Zealot can't get huge buffs because his damage, well, I mean, he could, but like, he shouldn't, because his damage is already pretty close to where it needs to be, and his survivability is definitely where it needs to be in terms of being relevant in the game. Like, he's still definitely relevant. I'm mostly concerned about the other 2 members of the cast and their overall, like, what do they actually contribute outside of having the flame staff for one of them and having shout for the other one and the ammo. That's where we're really coming up against some tough tough dilemmas. And the overarching thing to remember, because when players will like say, "Oh, it's power creep," like, "Oh yeah," okay, power creep is defined by the upper thing going up. So as long as our BDs doesn't move it up or Ogryn doesn't move up, we're good. Like, we can bring these other things up, because if you wanted to like play the most powerful group right now, you just bring those characters. It's not gonna like make the game that broken that like the characters that are already being played are like, you know, 25% better when there's like already these stupid powerful characters on the team comparatively. Like, it might increase your win rates a little bit, but it's only going to help players who are playing the worst characters already. It's not going to make the good stuff any more good than it is.
Yeah, I think that is in a bad spot for certain weird reasons. Like, he only has one ability, right? So he's got no creativity.
He's got 1.5 keystones.
He's got one ability. He's got 1.5 keystones, because you can run focus target, but like you don't need, like, you usually don't, because the number one thing he's bad at is melee, and that makes you better at melee. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna run that instead of focus target. And marksman's, let's be honest,
marksman doesn't have a place in this game, in the current meta of the game. It's like not even useful for the one thing it's supposed to be useful for, which is hilarious.
Yeah. But the thing is, Vet is, damage-wise, he's fine. His issues that he's easy to beat down. He only has shout, which is incredibly strong. And honestly, like, one of the problems that I want to talk about someday, we don't have to talk about this now. We've talked about it a million other times. Is I just think CDR makes it really hard to balance things, to be powerful and also not overpowered. His grenades, yes, so googly eyes, his grenades are good. Like, Vet has good grenades. Smoke grenades are really good. People are still sleeping on smoke grenades to this day.
I think they're fine.
Though they are irritating to play with if you don't know how to stand in them to not be blinded. But I think the problem with, all the classes, okay, we've got a cooldown reduction problem. But look, let's not talk about that in this video, because okay, it's important. I'm not saying it's not. But the basic gist of the reworks is the trees do need to be reworked, and that will boost the power of everyone a little bit. And as long as it doesn't go up a ton, then that's a safe position for everyone to land in. Like, if the trees get reworked and like a few of the really shitty nodes get buffed a little, like, that'll be fine.
Right.
The biggest task for Fat Shark is to not accidentally like make the class as strong as Arc is, right?
Yeah, I don't know how you'd accidentally do that. It seems very intentional, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, maybe don't shove a bunch of 15%.
Maybe don't have there be 8 15% damage nodes in the keystones.
Yeah, maybe don't do that. Like, that'd probably be good. So, and like, it's fine to me that is a little bad in melee, as long as there's, like, he's supposed to be the shooting class.
Well,
I did make a video some time ago. Speaking of, he needs a little bit more shooting identity.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that great at shooting, and that's
he's supposed to be the shooting guy.
Just normal guns. So he should probably get something there, but I don't know what that is, and I don't want him to turn out broken. But I'm just saying, like, he needs a little love. I don't think he's that weak, and I think that the psyker being a glass cannon is fine. I think the big problem with him is that I kind of feel like he isn't that interesting, because staff gameplay is just
that's just dominant, completely dominant.
Yeah, it's completely dominant.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I really want to say about balancing the classes is that the thing I think is most important, which you already touched on, is we have to make there be interconnectivity between all the tree so that there are more options available, and we have to get rid of D tier, just completely dead. Like, I call them DARKTIDE 1.0 nodes, like, in the era of the game where, like, they were like, oh geez, remember when blessings, like, first, like, the first edition of blessings, when like the top tier blessings were like 6% crit like total, and then they came by with the balance patch and they're like, okay, well, this actually stacks 4 times now, 24% crit, and that's where we stayed. It's like there's some nodes in the tree that are literally giving benefits like that, like on the Zealot, that are like, oh wow, you get 10% impact and like 30% suppression on a node. It's like that doesn't exist in modern day Dark
That doesn't
Tide.
matter.
And if you take all those nodes out and you replace them with like A tier nodes, it doesn't make the class any stronger on the whole. It just gives you more options to be strong, because the class is already strong using stuff that isn't that. You only have 30 nodes to pick. You can't pick the new one and the old ones. So, like, anything they put on the Zealot, because Zealot already has a really, really strong meta setup, anything they put on him is just going to be another option to be strong, and not replace what we already
I
have.
think that's kind of the ideal. Is like you would create you wouldn't overtop. You would want the build to exist, but then you would create new parallel builds.
Exactly.
And then maybe people would find something like super broken. We have to quash that, but like I doubt. I don't think that's like super likely.
No, I don't think that's likely, especially like if they're keeping an eye on the weapons and the weapons interplay with these classes. As long
as we can ever nerf anything, it'd probably be fine.
Right, yeah, as long as that's on the table. I think for a long time it just hasn't fundamentally been on the table, and so
it just hasn't been on the table.
Yeah,
it's been really
scared.
we've just only seen the ratchet spin one way, and that just has made it impossible for us to have.
And it's trained a community of people who can't tolerate the idea of their favorite thing getting a little bit worse. It's like, guys, come on, like it can't all be W's all day long, or else the game fundamentally has no meaning. Like, we could just keep buffing things forever. And like as you said, Warframe, and someone was in the comments being like, I don't understand like what his point is about Warframe. Like, Warframe doesn't have power creep. I was like, what the fuck? When's the last time you played Warframe, my man? I came back after
I had somebody said, so I had
a year and a half
Warframe
not
in a couple of
playing.
years.
Like, yeah.
And I played a lot of Limbo before and after the rework for Limbo, right? And just to the point of like, what am I talking about with Warframe? Someone sent me a video, and it's literally looks like my graphics card is
it's indistinguishable. Yeah, you can't tell what you're looking at anymore.
I know, it's just like there's the vague humanoid shape in the middle and nothing but particle packs on screen, and I just see what looks to be a kill feed just filling with deaths.
The like weapon power creep too, where when I left, I forget like it was like geez, the first time I left I was like, oh shit, like my Vacor hack and shit like that was peak. And then I came back one time and I upgraded all my shit, and I was like, okay, like I've got the like the Tenet weapons, like the sisters and stuff. And then I came back and I was like, oh, all this is fucking garbage. The Incarnon weapons are now like, if you're not running an Incarnon weapon, it's like 1,000,000% better than everything else. It just absolutely clowns and everything else in the game. Like, that's the sort of power creep that like we're talking about. And that's kind of the way I feel playing RBs with a good build into playing Veteran with a good build. It's like, not only is this class way more fun, it's better. It's just like 1-to-1 better. Like, it's eating the fuck out of Veteran's lunch. And being more fun doing it.
It's safer to play, and it does a ton of... If you have the right weapons and the right talents, it does as much melee range damage and as much melee damage as Zealot.
Because he's not any better at range attacks than anybody else. Like, that's the saddest thing. Like, he's not special. I want them to get him
better than Zealot, at least.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Except for the bolter. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, no, he's even better at the bolter and the flamer. Like, you genuinely... Like, you can go... If you go take a bolter to the range and blast as many crushers in the face as you can with as little ammo as possible, like, that wins, but it's not that big a deal.
What about if you triggered Duelist and then do it? 3 seconds of unparalleled.
No, because I've done it with Duelist on testing it, but yeah, I mean, it does make a difference, but Vet does have a lot of advantages for the guns. It's just you have to take there's like one build you take for Vet, and it's not that fun. And like if you take Xyz too, you can go crazy with Xyz, but Xyz can't take because you die.
Yeah, yeah, that is the downside of that. I mean, which sucks. I mean, like, I love that ability.
Me too.
That was the ability I played with like for 100 hours.
It can't be done. Obviously, I've watched players play Xyz, but I've played Xyz in Havoc 40 and cleared it. But like, it's way harder.
Oh, absolutely.
The reality is, it's way harder for me than it's going to be really hard.
It's going to be impossible.
Else.
I mean, I see like when I was playing, I was just doing it for fun when we were in a content drought. I got a new DARKTIDE account, and I was just like leveling and like seeing what it was like to like have the new player experience with like no resources, like what the balancing is, how fast you get your weapons and stuff. And I would run into veterans who didn't have their abilities yet, or just hadn't swapped off of X stance, and they were just like hopeless. These guys needed the shout, like, and the second they discovered shout, whenever they did, they're staying there because
everybody runs shout. Games. So obviously they did. Yeah, everybody runs shout. Okay, so I think we can agree more or less that, hey, look, the classes need some reworks. We should just do that. I don't know what that's going to shake up to, so let's not try to talk balance.
Right? Yeah. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get
that like Vet with reworked plasma is fine. Zealot with relic blade is fine. and then it just needs to be a little. It's okay if they get a little stronger, but they shouldn't get a lot stronger. It seems to be the agreed position.
Yeah.
Sound right?
Seems
right.
Seems fine, man.
Let's talk Ogryn. I want to talk about his talent pool, and I want to just try to pick 5 things. I want to try to pick like a few things that need nerfs, like whatever that jumps out to you is an outlier. I've already kind of had my piece on that point, and then if there's anything that you think just sucks that needs to be improved, that would take. I got some. Well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna start with nerfs. So for me, the biggest things about Ogryn that are just oppressive. First of all, the Mark III Bully Club is a huge overperformer on the class. It does everything. Like it doesn't exist in parity with the other stuff in its weapon family. Even like it's like twice as fast, has twice the impact as the other marks, and it's just become my one stop. Like just use this weapon every single time because also Skull Crusher is so fucking crazy. So
yes, true.
You can't have a class that's like that strong at stagger and like leans into stagger that much. So that's one thing, but that's not really class. I guess it is class specific in some way, but
yeah,
I think
we're gonna get to weapons, so we'll cover that bad boy. Let's talk about talent points
specifically. I think just some of the damage reduction talents are probably a little bit on the excessive side, especially considering his health pool. It does make it not for me, right? Because again, like playing in Havoc, you effectively it doesn't matter what health you have because the game nerfs your health anyway, and everything does a million billion damage. But for anybody who's playing in anything up to Havoc, he's basically at infinite health because he's got like 15% damage resistance in like 3 different nodes. He's got the bleed damage resistance thing. I like batter, so I don't really want that to be nerfed or anything. I like that he can apply bleeds like that, but it is very strong. I think mostly it's just like that damage resistance for me. That's the problematic thing because it just allows you to just kind of ignore how to play the game in essence.
Yeah.
The only other thing that really screams out to me is like circumventing the fundamental way the game is played is just being able to dodge through all enemies. But like, I mean, that's his identity, man. I love that for him. So I wouldn't want to take that away.
Yeah, it's super strong. It is kind of his identity, though. It's not quite what I expected. What I wanted and what I was hoping for when I made the video about buffs was like, hey, can we get... And listen, this was not my idea. I didn't like whisper in Fat Shark's ear. Everybody thinks I have way more influence than I do. But
yeah, same.
I made a video and I was like, I want this thing, and then Fat Shark made it, and so it looked like I asked them for it, and it was not. I was not the only person who would ever come up with this concept, right? The thing is, what I was hoping for was just dodge through. So there's a mechanic like that. I think on Ironbreaker, Barden, or something. I don't know. I haven't played enough Vermintide to know all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 300 hours. I never got out of Legendary, and I was never even good at Tide games until Darktide. So I found that there was an ability. The audio is what? Is my audio cooked? What's going on?
Am I cooked? Or is it
yours? Is this live? Yes, the audio is. Okay, yeah, the audio is. The audio is live. Yeah, we're talking. But
Good.
I can't respond to everybody,
That'll
chat.
fool.
I'm kind of reading my chat, just so you know, chat, but I'm not able to. I'm Chief Balance Officer, Patrick. It's not me. I am not in charge of the video game.
Just so
I am some
everyone
guy
on my
who's
stream
very
knows, this is
passionate, and that's
pre-recorded.
it.
I just tried to guess what Reginald was going to say, and I just pre-recorded some answers, so I think it's going
That's
pretty well
high
so
IQ,
far.
actually. I'm impressed. Handmaiden has dodge through enemies. Slayers has stagger enemies on dodge. Yeah, so, I mean, there's
Slayer,
parity in Vermintide. I think that I would have gone with dodge through enemies to avoid the whole knocking everything over.
Yeah, it just kind of like bowls everything over.
Yeah, he's so strong, and okay, fine, but there does have to be something, and he does have some consequences for being so huge because he can't easily dodge trappers and dogs and stuff like that. So fine, all right, fine.
But at lower levels, remember,
like,
those aren't threats because those things don't really show up in great numbers until like Oryx, right?
Yeah.
So like you're just
but also
clowning
people.
on those
I mean,
stuff.
I've seen the way some of these people play. They can't dodge even one. So fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah, one. If you get hit by one, you're dead. So.
Yeah, and it is really brutal to get hit by one. They are the most dangerous enemy in the game, even in Malice. If somebody can't get you,
I
in time,
disagree.
it's over.
Barrels.
Barrel. Okay, fine. The barrels
Instant
and your
kill.
teammates shooting them is the most.
Teammates cannot save you. Teammates, in fact,
right.
can only hurt you when barrels are concerned. Nerf barrels. Put that on the list. Why are these?
But yeah, so I think it's
so
good that it's
cool.
there because you can move now on Ogryn to the second system's point. Like you can move now if there's somebody on the floor. And
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So okay, maybe DR needs to come down. I don't know exactly where we would tackle that, but we can say DR needs to come down. Personally, I think that batter needs to have 1 stack of bleed instead of 2. That's my take.
Oh, it's 2-4, right?
It's 2-4 right now.
Okay. Well, would you do 1-4 or 1-2?
1-4.
I think that's good. Honestly, I would do that. I think it stacks up really, really fast. I mean, people don't understand, or it should have a cap on how many bleed stacks can be applied with it. Like as does the fire stack, fire.
From the fire shotgun.
Yeah, the fire explosion thing. No, I mean the fire explosion on the Ogryn has a
yeah,
cap of 8
yeah.
stacks. Oh, the same thing with Recon Lasgun has a cap of 12 stacks on burn. People underestimate how strong 16 stacks of any dot effect in this game is. 16 stacks is doing hundreds of DPS per second, unaugmented with Skull Crusher, etc., etc. And yeah, and base damage scalings. So yeah, like that not stacking instantly. I think removing his like light attack spam playstyle would probably be my most desired change. I'd like to get back to more like heavy attack stuff because some of his heavy attack weapons are really cool. And
yeah, I think it's funny because it looks to me like they tried to include light attacks in his talents, so people use them and stop
Yeah.
doing nothing but heavy spam, and now he just
and
does
it's just
light
only
spam
light
instead.
spam.
Yeah, it's just like we went from one spam to the other. And
Yeah.
It just seems really stupid.
It's
so I agree.
fun.
It would be ideal if we could get him to more of a mixed playstyle. So having some buffs on lights is fine, but you know you want to encourage him to use those heavies where it's applicable. And
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the hard thing. I will say that not everybody even knows to use combos, but like we do. Like we should be rewarded appropriately.
Yeah, I think
Put the cap on lights. Okay.
I
Maybe
think
just
like
lights.
lights and like maybe there could be talents that have specific effects for just light attacks, or like maybe one that has like a effect like light attacks do this and heavy attacks do this. Like heavy attacks will have the rending, light attacks will have something else and make it like a kind of a low to medium value, so that it's not like, you know, if you're using just one part of it, it's honestly not that big a buff. But if you use both, you get a nice boost out of it if you're cross-playing. Oh wait,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah, that's an
As my
interesting
stream
idea.
knows,
Maybe,
it's
like,
dog time. So
Could we
pause.
do combo based buffs? That'd be cool. That'd be a good idea. All right, so that's on the table. I think the other thing that needs to get pulled down by 1 is explosion outer radius fire stacks by 1. It's currently 2, max stacks 8. I think if you pulled that down to 1, and then you just let there be an inner radius that does 2, which
Yeah, that talent is
be
really,
fun.
really good. People don't.
Oh wait, I'm
people
sorry.
sleep on it.
Explosion stack. I think get rid of the 1 stacks because it's 1 and 2 in close range. Just get rid of the outer radius. Yes, it would nerf some builds. That's probably fine because it would be safe to do that. But I don't know. Your take?
Yeah, I think that explosion thing. I don't know how much like that talent itself is problematic because it really only has the effect on the Rumbler, right? The Rumbler is like the operative thing there that's making that one a problem.
Yeah,
and
that's
the thing that really makes it a problem, which we'll talk more about the Rumbler, I'm sure, but the thing that really makes it a problem is the brittleness on the Rumbler, that just makes those burn stacks do so much damage into mixed hordes. The Rumbler wouldn't honestly be half as much problem if you couldn't embrittle enemies and apply burn stacks, and then that's what really like crazy ups that damage. But I wouldn't be opposed to nerfing that a little bit. It is like a solid like 15 to 20% damage. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah,
that
it
fire
is.
stack. All right, can we take a 2-minute pause? I gotta let my dog out.
No problem.
Yeah, interact with the chat.
I will catch up with chat. Chat, I'm gonna catch up with you.
Mute my mic too.
You think there's an echo for Reginald in this stream? Soggy Sandwich says. I'm actually in multiple chats now because I'm also in Mr. E's chat. You guys are doomed. I can see everybody. I got Windows, man. You made Rumbler Ogryn before the buff. So Plab, I made Rumbler Ogryn before the buff. I love Rumbler. I think it's my favorite Ogryn weapon, but it's also, you know, a problem. Love you too, Bless. Catch me, Reggie. You got Advanos. Sorry, I'm terrible with that name. There's a 0 in it, and it's Advan. So there you go. Now any chump can use it. True. And man, Rumbler was great. I loved it. Yeah, I agree, Antonio. You can't take all recoil off the las guns. And we're going to definitely talk about the las guns. You also made Plasma Gun before its 2 initial buffs, and it had Toughness Charge and Shield Pierce. Yeah. Plasma isn't in the worst possible state, but it's definitely not okay where it is right now. I mean, if I were to go to the range and show you how quickly you can blow up a horde, I have the stats. It's insane. Ogryn is too strong. Sometimes I kill a Crusher with 1 hit. It depends on what you're using, Kevin, on whether or not that's too strong. If you're using a pickaxe and you queue up a big overhead and you've got a shitload of buffs up, I don't really care, because you are an Ogryn and you are killing an Ogryn with an enormous slow pickaxe. What I have a problem with is when you kill an Ogryn every time you swing with no delay, no cost, nothing. It's just like super easy. That seems a problem. Crushers should be a little tougher than they are in the game currently, but we'll get there. How would I buff stun storm grenades? I don't think they need it. I think they don't need it. Maybe you could give them an extra charge, make it 4, but I think you have to understand how powerful it is to turn off the enemy in a local radius. Maybe make it more consistent. It seems a little inconsistent these days, and that could probably be fixed. It's kind of a problem, but yeah, they're great. The main issue with them is just that I can't path to them, so I never take them. I would take them more. I'd take them fairly often. They're quite good. Like, have you ever been in a situation where you needed to clutch and you were surrounded by enemies? You know what can do that? Stun grenades. You throw 1 stun grenade on the floor, maybe 2, and you just pick 3 people up. No problem. Let's see. How would I add Sister of Battle as a class, Jefficus? Jefficus, good to see you. I would add her first as a Bolter Bitch base class. So she would be Bolter oriented. She probably should only be able to take Bolter or Bolt Pistol and like a Chain Sword, Power Sword kind of situation, and she would be basically that. And that would also, that tree would be Bolter or Celestine kind of, or no, not Celestine. Crap, what is that class? So there's like the sort of upgraded sister that's like a vet, and I think they're called Celestians, not Seraphim. And then I would not add Seraphim because that would probably break the game in unique and interesting, unpleasant ways. I would probably do something with the new like shield and polearm class that they've got going on for Sisters of Battle, and I would do something for,
all right,
I don't know, like Dominions. They'll get a flamer. Don't worry. That the sisters need flamers. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you're talking about what you think is the next class?
Somebody asked me how I would implement Sisters of Battle.
What do you think the next class will be?
We don't need Repentias. Like, don't get me wrong, Repentias are great gooner bait, but I don't think we need Repentias. We already have Zealot with Eviscerator. It's the same thing. It could not be made in a way that would be any way interesting compared to what we already have on FOTS Zealot. Okay, so
Mechanicus, yeah. There you go. Yeah, what's up?
Let's we've hit a couple of nodes. Do you want to do some buffs on the Ogryn?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to hit everything in the world. We can obviously. Like,
I'm actually on the Ogryn right now. Let me look at let me just peep at this talent tree here.
Of course. Chat, if you have something specific you want nerfed, go ahead and shout it out now, because we can always make it into a topic of discussion. If there's like some outlier I'm not thinking of, just let me know, please.
Yeah, I think really the outliers are Batter being stupid strong, like Delight and Destruction, plus just the generic. There's so many just like flat damage resistance in here. Probably, like, honestly, I don't know if impactful. I always take that whenever I'm going a heavy hitter node, the one that offers up to 80% impact that just staggers the fuck out of everything.
Yeah, that maybe is too much, huh?
It's a lot, and it kind of like makes the great cleaver that gives, you can get up to 120% cleave with it, but like, you know, 80% impact is insane with some of the already existing impacts on the class, and then it just puts them into heavy stagger, and they can't get up. I mean, you're staggering crushers on 2 light attacks, like big staggers. So that might be something that's like a little overtuned. Especially considering how many other buffs you get on heavy hitter. But as far as like nerfing anything here, honestly, you take too much from him and he's going to be obviously behind the Arbites. So we'd have to like lop the RBDs off at the knees and then lop the Ogryn off. And so I don't know if I'm like 100% interested in doing that. I would rather err on the side of like just start with a round of buffs or like, reworking every other character, and then we'll revisit RBDs and Ogryn and see if they're still feel too strong by comparison to the rest of the cast. Because right now they definitely do, but we don't know what they have in store for the other characters.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think minor things that are obvious outliers is all I'm trying to target in this conversation. So it doesn't have to be a lot.
He doesn't have as many outliers as I think RBDs does.
I agree. I think there's he's got a few things that are just way too good, and part of that is his weaponry, right?
Yeah, it's tied to like a couple weapons specifically that are just overtuned for the game.
Taunt repeating with toughness is insane. Okay, so
Taunt is really good, but
is the toughness gen on Loyal Protector too much? Is that the problem?
So how it works is like it stacks up so if you have 6 enemies around you, the first 3 seconds you get 6 enemies worth of regen, which is, let me mouse over it.
It's 10% toughness and an
so
additional
you would
0.5% per each.
You would get 3%. So you get 10% in that first, like instantly, and then you get 3% per second for the first 3 seconds, and then it would count those 6 enemies again. So you get 6%, and then you get 9% because it count them again for a total of 18. So it does add up a lot like that, which is really, really nice. I don't think. I mean, this is definitely his strongest ability, but I don't think it's like. I don't think it's like game-breaking strong. It's definitely really strong though. It's definitely up there, and it does kind of like. It definitely makes playing other stuff feel a little bit bad by comparison because how safe it is, and it staggers too. If they took the staggering away from it, honestly, that might balance it.
Okay.
Or like,
else in the game breaking.
Or maybe because the problem with the stagger is with the go again modifier with the staggering the enemy cooldown thing, you can be fully staggering every enemy around you like every 12 or 15 seconds, including bosses, and that just kind of like completely pauses the game for a second, which plays to the Ogryn's favor. So maybe if like that one made it so the taunt didn't stagger, and the other one that has the full cooldown where you're waiting 45 seconds. But then he's still again, like to your point earlier, he still has a ton of fucking ways of regenerating his cooldown. And so cooldown becomes an issue again.
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways we could deal with this. But I do agree that it's too much. It's like you have taunt, you get stagger, you get toughness regen, you just and all the enemies attack you instead of anybody else.
Yeah,
so
and you're like
it's basically
uniquely
like
able to not get hit too, because nothing can surround you unless it's like elites from the back too, and you can stagger everything that tries to attack you. So it like one person, and this is why when I was like rating the power of the classes, I talked about like the carry potential, and this was the character I was thinking of, and I was thinking about the carry potential because one Ogryn can taunt the whole level and walk through the level and then just club it all to death, and no one else has to lift a single finger because the enemies won't attack anybody else, and he's untouchable. And that applies all the way through like Auric, Auric difficulties are like a joke with Ogryn. It's only when you get to Havoc that he can't do that anymore because there's just too much beef out there. But even then, he can rumbler it.
Yeah, you can just rumble it. Right. Okay. So we need to do something about taunt. We need to. There's got to be a way to nerf taunt somehow. I'll just write nerf taunt somehow. We don't have to have every solution here.
Just point them at that. Yeah, just get that thing.
Yeah.
But
our job here today is to get opinions. On how to fix, like, what's the biggest problems. Not necessarily to diagnose every single thing that needs to be fixed. It's like the taunt is a problem. Too much DR is a problem. Batter, it's nice that we got specific. We could maybe do combo-based buffs.
Yeah.
Outer radius burn could be eliminated because it's huge on the Rumbler, and it's also pretty good on, if you have ever tried it, it's also decent on the Gauntlet. And then we could pull down Impactful. So those are some nice nerfs that are like, hey, those are outliers. We could probably work on fixing that somehow, right?
Mm.
So, by the way, I'm going to take this and, tweet it at
Bat Shark or something when we're done. So that's kind of my goal. I got this idea from Claysthetics. I don't know if you know him. He used to stream.
He used to play this game.
Yeah, he does. He did, and he did this for Helldivers. He would just get everybody together, and he would be like, "All right, this is the community's like opinions about the balance. Like, let's." And then he would tweet Arrowhead, and I'm thinking I'll just do the same thing. I don't really have much of a Twitter, but I will make one for this or whatever. I don't know. So that'd be a good place to get started and just say these are the big problems. So if anybody disagrees with the nerfs list, now's the time to yell in a chat.
Yeah,
I
or
guess.
else we're doing all nerfs. If I don't get $20 in donations in the next 5 minutes, I'm on all nerfs.
Just nothing but nerfs.
All nerfs.
Makes
I'll nerf
sense.
your favorite thing. Whatever you envision your favorite thing is, it's getting nerfed.
It's getting nerfed. Yeah, there you go. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is there anything on this tree that specifically jumps out at you as just needing buffs?
Yes, of course. It's Point Blank Barrage. That is a dead ability. They completely gutted the... I mean, obviously, like, we know that the ability was designed around the Twin Link Stubber. And so the Twin Link Stubber went from being one of the like iconic weapons for the class that had a very specific use case with Lucky Bullet and Point Blank Barrage, like a kind of probably like an overpowered synergy where you could just burn a boss down with like 32 fire stacks. And then it went to like being the worst class or the worst weapon on the class because that node doesn't offer anything anymore. Like its buffs, I've done an analysis video on specifically it. Its buffs don't. There's so many buffs on it, but only like 2 out of the 6 buffs apply to any given weapon that you would have on the Ogryn. So they're like, they don't add up. Like in cumulative, they don't really add up to being anything impactful for the weapon at all. It's just better to take Taunt. Like every single time, it's better just to take Taunt and make yourself safe. And it doesn't make you safe to use it. It doesn't increase your damage like hugely to use it. And pretty much all of the extra damage you need for like Rumbler or something like that, you just get a Lucky Bullet. You just use Lucky Bullet and then you're good. You can skip that node entirely. So I would love to see that node like reworked and made into something. I don't know what it would be, but it definitely is like completely irrelevant on the class as it currently stands, and it kind of sucks.
Okay.
I haven't seen anyone play with that in a long time.
Barrage, rework, Dodge Linger. The only thing I'll say about Dodge Linger, Agatha, is if we fix Dodge Linger on Ogryn, now he has amazing dodges and can stagger everything in the entire planet by dodging. Whereas, so like, I feel like we'd have to nerf his stagger on dodge if we gave him Dodge Linger. Like otherwise, like there's just nothing. He's just God.
What is that, like the dodge window?
Yeah, so there's a window during which you can dodge, and so after you finish a dodge, enemies will not like. It's not iframes. It's not the same.
They won't
but
retarget on you.
It's sort of a window where they won't target you
yeah.
or hit you with a swing that's active,
I
and
felt
so yeah,
that makes
PvE
sense.
feels good as a reload ability for Gauntlet. So yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do that, I'm just gonna make a note here. Would have to nerf dodge stagger effect because that would have to be a thing. Or those, hopefully you caught me explaining it just now. It's a mechanic within dodge, and different classes have different linger times. For example,
Jackson, that's how
Zealot
it is,
has a really long one, and I think Vet has a really bad one, and so it makes it. And I think Psyker actually has the worst dodge linger of them all.
See.
And so it makes your class
Stagger
feel different
after
into
3
enemies quite
seconds,
noticeably.
it doesn't stagger again. Sorry, I'm probably over talking you because I'm trying to explain something to my chat. It only is they were saying we need to nerf the stagger on the taunt. It only staggers on the first initial thing. I just don't think it just needs to stagger on the first initial thing at all because the regen effect is so strong, and the taunt effect is so strong.
Yeah, that would be one way to nerf it, is just get rid of the stagger.
Yeah.
Or you could keep the stagger and get rid of some other like power of some kind.
I don't know.
Just watch myself almost die to a first. ER nerfs and dodge buffs will make bad players worse and good players better. That's an interesting take. That's an interesting take. But then also, you know, it will make bad players worse and good players better, but it will also give the class a skill curve. And there does need to be a skill curve in this game if you want the game to have retention. There needs to be things for bad players to learn. Otherwise, why are they here? Like, if you could just W key through the game without just taking hits on the chin, like I know that there's a desire to feel that that's a play style, but what you're actually doing is just saying don't learn anything and just play. And then you go to another class and you're like, how did anybody play this? And it's not going to be fun, and people might get a really sour taste and just leave. Right? You can't make the gap too big between the classes, or people will not understand that there's like multiple play styles.
Yeah, and Ogryn's at a fundamental risk of that because being, you know, just so different, right? The second you swap to any other class and you're like, whoa, this sucks comparatively in this way and this way and this way, you're not going to want to swap back. And we don't need to make any more abhumans in this world. There's enough Ogryn players. Uh-oh. What is happening? Are you still here?
Yeah, okay.
Right. I heard a noise.
Get rid of the stagger and make it pass through instead. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to do, Jum. That's what I've always felt would be better. Just like, okay, let's do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, just because the Ogryn can be, he already staggers enough. He doesn't need to also like actually stagger enemies.
Okay, I've written that down as a possible.
Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense lore-wise, but whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. Just let him go through. Like, I feel like you could sacrifice some things on the altar.
Or just reduce the radius of the shove or something, so it shoves like one enemy.
It is
rather
really
than, like,
big.
10.
It is really big.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs to be smaller.
Because it does make sense that it shoves like the immediate enemy that you dodge into, but it doesn't necessarily make sense that every enemy that is around you goes sprawling to the fucking ground. Or just like lower the it could be a combination of that and lowering the the stage of the stagger.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
Like it shouldn't be like
well.
maybe it shouldn't put like all like small gunners and stuff to the ground fully. Like it just gives them that like half stagger animation. I don't know.
Yep. Okay. Let's. Unless you have something else you want to note down, I think that's probably a good place
No,
on
that's,
the.
that's sort of my opinion on Ogryn. It's like he's kind of one notish because he's just so face roll, and I think a lot of that would be fixed if we fixed the overwhelming like stagger and just sustain that he has, and then point blank barrage is pretty useless. So I'd love to see it go up.
Yeah. Okay.
Blow it up.
Cool. We're on the same page. Let's talk about Arbites. I know he's a new class. It'll probably take them for 52,000 years to nerf this guy.
Yeah.
But I honestly, like, I have a couple of things I want to address, and I'm just going to see if you agree with me or not, because I know exactly what I would want to do. I think Force of Will should be taken down to 5% from toughness, from 10. Force of Will for chat, if you're not looking at a thing right now, is 10% toughness on staggering melee attack. And so what this does compared to other classes is you don't have to kill anything. You just have to bump it.
Think about think about how overpowerful that the Ogryn, people thought the Ogryn's generation is, how he can get 5% every time he light attacks an enemy with his ability. Now imagine double that. Just
yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, I think that I'm not saying we have to turn him into the weakest enemy in the game, but like, or weakest hero in the game or anything. But like, Force of Will should just be at 5%.
It's directly next to stay close too. It's directly next to like 3 other crazy toughness regen nodes. Like this guy's got toughness regen out the fucking ass. He can take a tiny hit. Like he can burst if you swing your weapon one time and you cleave like say 3 poxwalkers or something like that, you can regenerate 40% of your toughness. That's too much. That's too much.
It's too much. It's crazy. It's beyond reason. So okay, we take 5% off Force of Will. And I'll clean these notes up before I send to the fact chart, but Force of Will. Anybody arguing with me that that's a bad idea in chat? Make your peace. Like, this is when you should be yelling. I can only, we're a little behind on everything, but I'm here. I'm looking. The other one I want to take off is Walk It Off. I think we are okay. Walk It Off is partially bugged right now, so first of all, that's got to get fixed, obviously.
What's it doing?
But I'm not addressing bugs. Like the fact that you can swap weapons and immediately get 50% nerf is crazy.
Wait, what does it do currently?
Yeah, sorry. So Walk It Off, spending 1 stamina replenishes 15% toughness over 3 seconds.
Yeah, no, but I mean, what is the bug? I was just saying.
Oh, yeah, so if you swap weapons, it activates.
Because it changes your toughness value or your stamina value by at least 1?
Value. Yeah, exactly. So you could literally
yeah, that is the effect. Yeah, swap to your weapon as long as they have a 1 stamina difference, which I think like pretty much every melee and range do. That's funny.
Weapon swap trigger for Walk It Off.
I mean, but think about this, David. You say 50% nerf is crazy, but like, okay, that's not even like 1/4 of his toughness regeneration. Because if you kill an enemy with that attack, you get 5%. Then you get another 5% from Stay Close, which is right next to the talent we were talking about with the Stagger talent.
Yep.
So you're getting 10% there, where other classes only get 5. And you can trigger Stay Close with, like, Stay Close is honestly a really, really, like, crazy toughness regenerating talent, too. And you get the 5% after the patch, or after the nerf, for staggering. So you're getting 15%. Other classes would get only 5 for melee killing that character, and then you can sustain against bosses, which only Ogryn can do.
Yep.
Like, you can hit the boss in the head repeatedly and get 5% every single time. And remember, you have way faster attack speed than many other classes because the RBD Shock Maul is so freaking strong. So, yeah, you're going crazy.
Fast.
So yeah, I don't think that would hurt at all. Like, I don't know if many players would even notice the difference. Like the speed that you regenerate toughness at from like so many different sources too. All of his abilities do it as well.
Yeah, I think nobody would even know, and it would still feel insane. So, your thoughts on changing psyker, if any? I think so. Doc, we're going to talk about his weapons today, but mostly the suggestion is, hey, let's just get him a tree rework to make it as interesting.
Just
and
tree
flexible as other
rework
classes.
generically. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it'd be nice to go into detail on him, but we don't have time to do everything because we also have to talk through a lot of other stuff. So, I that's the big thing. Give it a cooldown a couple seconds. That's an interesting idea, Merlin.
Maybe.
In cases of push numbers.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think Arbides has way too many push numbers. I agree. I think his numbers are just huge. So Khan said suppression protocols gives you 20% DR on just hitting 3 or more enemies, and that does seem like a pretty big number. I don't know if it's a problem or not, but we could maybe look at, how about, let's just do a look at suppression protocols and TDR value.
So,
and we'll just call that one out.
So in terms of like Can responding to Canlan here, you're saying that like, okay, Zealots can get 15% per dodge, 5% per second for not getting attacked or hit by a melee attack in the last 5 seconds or 8 seconds or whatever it is for Vet. Psychers by building and losing peril, and more importantly for metal, 5% per crit. There's lots of ways for them regenerating, but remember, those classes, that's pretty much like the way that they have outside of maybe using their ultimate ability. This class has 5% from being near the dog per second, 5% for using a stamina per second for 3 seconds, 5% every time you get a melee kill, additional 5% every time you get a close range kill, which includes melee kills, and 10% for every time that you do an attack that staggers an enemy, so which is every attack. And then you've got the nodes. You've got every single ultimate ability that regenerates toughness. Castigator's Stance replenishes full toughness. The charge can replenish full toughness if you hit the enemy, like even 2 enemies. Your keystones also replenish toughness and make you stupid like tanky. Like he's just got too much regen and toughness going on. Smooth regen effects like Walk It Off. And I'll say this a million times, but smooth regen effects like Walk It Off that are consistent like that are crazy powerful in this game because they react before you can. When you lose toughness, you have a gap where you can get hit a second time, and that's where you lose health when your toughness is low, and those make up for it. So the fact that he has 3 5% regen nodes in the tree, not that people are really choosing the one that's in the bottom right keystone, but like you can choose the dog and Walk It Off, and you're like invincible.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And it's actually crazy to me that. So one of the things you can notice really quickly is like if you get shot while you're doing it and you break toughness, it's enough and fast enough that usually the next shot doesn't do any toughness, any damage to your health.
Yeah, you can just take chip. That's why I take gunner damage resist on. I take gunner damage resist on him because gunners will be like hitting you, and then you're regenerating like fast enough that gunners like can't get through you unless you stand there for like 20 seconds plus. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So, it's too much. It's just too much.
Like he shouldn't be as tanky as Ogryn. I listen. I already said like Ogryn feels a little bit overtuned in terms of tankiness, and Arbides is pushing that level in terms of just being able to like face tank crazy amounts of damage. He should have to evade damage in the same way that Zealot does. He needs to be like it's okay if he's a little tankier than Zealot, but he needs to not be. He needs to not be able to walk it down like this. Yeah.
Because he's just got every TDR node that doesn't even need to kill enemies to get. Right?
It's
he doesn't have to do anything.
He can sustain crazy toughness. He can replenish 100% of his toughness bar in like about 2 seconds, and then it's not even considering his ultimate abilities that he can just press and instantly fill his toughness as well. So like the guy is like the second you think you've got him, Castigator Stance, 10 seconds where he's fully toughness and he's not gonna be able to get hurt. Like
I want to kill. So we'll get. Let's just talk.
I don't think that would hurt the class at all. So like I'm
killing Malacator would be like my dream because with Malacator and his Psychonetics aura, you can get. Someone did the math in my comments. You can get a 22-second cooldown on Castigators. So you could just be in Castigators for a third of the game.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Ranger Harv, I think that I don't know on Castigators. I think my first goal would be to kill CDR. And then if CDR gets brought down, a CDR cooldown reduction gets taken away, Mallocator gets nerfed.
It'd be interesting to see if the class was a little bit like more balanced. I think that if that's, I think they should reverse the cooldowns of Nuncio and Castigator if they change the cooldown thing.
Yeah,
I don't think Nuncio is anywhere near as impactful as Castigator is.
I think it would be nice if Castigators had a longer cooldown as well. But so I think that'd be a lot. Like the question of whether or not we need to pull the DR down is on the table. I want to make that super clear, right? Another option, by the way, that's been posed to me by other people is instead of taking this Castigator stance Cybermassive damage node, which nobody in their right mind would ever take the toughness replenishment out of Castigator stance. So when you hit the button, you don't get toughness immediately. And then you put that on that node of where Bloodlust is.
Yeah, that could be good. Yeah, that node's crap.
And then you have to pay for the toughness, right? Like, it's still really strong, but...
Yeah, like 9 times out of 10, you don't even need it because you can just regenerate toughness so fast. But hey, if you're a person who wants that extra boost, it's insane as it is. It replenishes, you to that level. Like, just, it's absurd. It'll never fucking hurt you with your regen. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, there's an interest in a strong interest in addressing the Castigator's stance problem. That's capitals. We don't have to have a solution here. Like, I don't think we have time to negotiate with our chat and each other the perfect solution, but we can say this is the problem.
Goodness.
We agree this is the problem, right? Do you agree with me that Allocator is a problem, or do you want to keep the CDR?
I just like to concentrate on the game, but yeah, I'm here.
There's someone talking at the game. They're so loud.
Oh shit!
It's so loud. Hold on.
I know that Mallocator is broken, JT, but but I have played with it not broken, and it's crazy how much it gives. You can't balance the game around active bugs.
I don't think I would pull the damage resistance of Castigators down. That's what gives it its fantasy, right? You just walk into shit. It feels awesome, right? But I think it would feel more awesome if it was a thing you actually had to think about when you use, rather than having it up literally 1/3 of the time. Like, it's crazy how often you'll see I was playing with First True Guardsman, if any of you know who that is, and he was trapped in a corner in an elevator against 2 bosses and a whole horde, and he looked like he was having the fucking clutch of his life. And the other guys were like, "Oh my god, look at this fucking guy go!" He was like, "Dude, I don't want to tell them, but I was literally just in Castigators for half of that. I literally couldn't even take damage. I was getting hit left and right. It just didn't look like I was." You just turn your brain off for that period of time. I wish there was more. I wish that there was more.
Oh fuck!
I don't know, like a ramping effect. I know there is that ramping effect of the damage when you kill elites or something, but maybe I don't know. Maybe you should move faster over time and start really, really slow or something, because it doesn't even hurt your movement speed at all. Castigators makes you move at sprinting speed when you're out of stamina. You still move at the exact same speed as you do when you're out of stamina.
Let everybody know.
So it's not even a penalty for movement.
Recently that I hit Castigators in that video I posted, and I just walked away from the Chaos Spawn, and I was fine.
You are 0.06 units per second slower than sprinting with no stamina, and that's without any movement buffs. If your dog pounces on something or any of those movement buffs you can get, you can be stupid, or range, the range shooting thing. I don't think you should be any slower, but I don't know. Just I think that it's pretty obvious that Castigators is it's just kind of brain dead, too much. And it's sad because the charge ability is crazy and it's super good. You will pump damage with that thing, but you can also just be invincible and never have to worry about anything if you play the castigator stance.
Yeah, I think it's a serious problem, and it obviously whatever we do, like if we
got you,
just
buddy.
hypothetically, like the lightest touch I can think of is just making sure that it takes the full cooldown to get back, so that you have exposure to dying during the game, right? Just something, right? Like it's too easy to be invulnerable. It's the invulnerability button, and so it needs. Like, it shouldn't be, but it is, right? So, I don't, there's a lot of ways to fix it. I think I'm going to, I've heard 60 seconds cooldown. I actually agree with that one personally, but, there's a lot of ways. Let's just say there's a strong interest in addressing the castigator stance problem. Mallocator, do you agree that we should look at getting rid of Mallocator? I had this idea, by the way, speaking of Mallocator. Let me just pitch this to you. Mallocators in lore are BDs who track enemies using technology.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things
Nuncio.
about execution order is it lets you see through walls with the highlight. So what if that specific function of seeing through walls with the highlight was just moved onto Mallocator? And then that was
Sure.
it's going to probably...
I think that the cooldown reduction should be moved to
Fine
a
job,
different
fine job.
keystone. Personally, I think that
Mr. E?
execution order is
You are Mr. E. I watch
crazy
your
stupid
YouTube
powerful
videos,
even
buddy.
without that.
Good shit.
I think that the problem is... My view
Yeah,
is
yeah,
okay,
yeah. I
so
was actually
I don't know if you
watching
look
one
at
of your,
Break the Line, but it has targeted
One
brutality.
of your fucking
The cooldown is built
psyker
into the
videos.
node. But if you
And,
don't have,
'cause I
it's
just
built
started
into the
playing the psyker
ultimate, right?
Using your
If you
little
have a
god there,
cooldown
buddy.
reduction,
Good
wherever
shit.
that lands is going to end up being the thing I take. Because it's just that good. It's just that good to
Yeah.
have.
That's what I was looking for when I picked up the class.
What's
I went
going
down
on?
the list of the talents when I first got into it, and I was like, "Is there a cooldown reduction here?" Oh, here it is. And then I looked at what else was around it. And I was like, "Oh yeah, this is the good one. This is the good keystone." There was no decision. The day one, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the keystone. This is crazy." And then I figured out how fast and persistent the highlighting is on it, and I was
It's
like,
so
"Oh my
common,
god!" I have fucking wall hacks knowledge. I have 10% extra crit. I have cooldown. I have toughness. It makes the dog go fucking berserk and murder guys in 2 seconds, which synergizes with a million other things. It's super stacked. And by comparison, Terminus Warrant sucks. Which reminds me, I was fucking uploading a video and I forgot to actually upload the video.
Yeah, Terminus Warden's in a weird spot. I could maybe do some testing on it, but I've not been impressed ever. I've just been like, oh, I noticed I had it now, and then it goes away really fast. I'm like, oh no, I gotta go switch weapons. Or what?
Not to spoil my video that my viewers will see uploaded in an hour or so. But yeah, that's the issue with it, is that the melee stacks are consumed next to instantly, and there's no weapons that can reliably get you those stacks back. And then, of course, getting those stacks back costs resources, costs ammo, costs time. So yeah, it's just not in a good place. There's
I mean,
only one thing you
shoot
can build
something with the Executioner's shotgun, and all of your stacks go bye-bye.
Yeah. It's like with only the Executioner Shotgun Mark III can you reliably get them back. But if you're playing around using that weapon and using the stacks effectively, it's terrible at using the range stacks effectively. It'll get you your melee stacks back, but it doesn't fill the fantasy of swapping back and forth well and getting a good benefit out of the range and the melee. It's you can do one or the other, but only with a very, very small handful of weapons does it actually have any way to reliably work. Otherwise, and I tried to make it work with a melee build, and it's hopeful, hopeless.
Yeah, it's just in a weird spot, and I don't know what to do with it. And I'll play it more and try to get an opinion, but I don't have a strong opinion right now, so what can I say? Okay, so mixed opinions on Mallocator is what I'm hearing. Not sure if we want to get rid of it.
I like the cooldown reduction. I just don't want it under the keystone that's already stupid powerful. Because I want there to be
I mean, if you put it anywhere, it's going to become the best keystone. That's just gonna happen.
Yeah, that's probably true. Maybe it should just be a node somewhere else in the tree. Then that something, if you do something, you get some cooldown. I mean, Zealot has fucking triple cooldown reduction, and his abilities are stupid. Thanks, James.
My dream would be that you get rid of all of those as well, but
Maybe.
I mean,
Yeah, good luck.
yeah, I know.
Because they just built,
it's built
they
into
literally
DARKTIDE.
just
I mean,
built
I'm
this
not-
class. They
again,
just built Ogryn.
This is just once again like I'm clearly not charting the game, but I could dream.
Someone said in my chat, and this is where I'll be a little more casual. I think having more ultimates is more fun, but I do think that there should be difficulties in the game where ultimates are disabled or like. So this is a thing. We'll probably talk about Havoc at some, maybe not today, but like at a future date. But like when I was initially, when they were talking about Havoc and they hadn't yet showed it to anybody, well, I guess you probably had played with it, but like when I didn't have any idea what was going to be in it, and Tanner didn't have any idea what was going to be in it, we were discussing, and I was like, for certain they'll have like a huge cooldown nerf, right? Like there won't be a way to just constantly spam abilities like Chain Chorus, Chain Shroud Field, shit like that. You won't be able to just shout your way through the level. And that didn't come to fruition, and it's always boggled me because like ult stacking is like one of the ways that the like difficulty is just trivialized. Is like just chain ult, and
Yep.
if that was just like a Havoc thing, like a Havoc modifier, like an Emperor's Fading Light, where you lose 50% or like double the cooldown for your ultimate, and you had to like be more tactical about when you use them, I think that would make a really big difference in that difficulty. And then like players lower down could still just have fun with their crazy ass ult spam, like playing on Auric Maelstrom, like as the game is intended. And then if you really want to like crush your balls with a rock, you can go play Havoc 50 and have like 2-minute cooldowns in your ults. So
You know what? I'm going to propose that I think that's actually kind of a based idea. Maybe we just need to have some additional modifiers that just turn off CDR more for Havoc.
yeah, I think for Havoc specifically, that was my. I mean, you saw the video because you responded to it, but like that was my overall arching take. Is like, yeah, we have a cohort of players who wants there to be more difficulty, who doesn't mind stupid difficulty things, challenge for the sake of challenge, make them suffer terribly. That's what they want, right? And then everybody else can have Overwatch 2 or whatever, like everybody else can have like, because I kind of want to play both, right? I like playing the Oryx and just cruising through with the bros, but also like sometimes I want to feel like, oh my god, like I have my ultimate to make the play. It's the time versus like I'm literally running chorus and I have an ultimate every 15 seconds. Like I'm ulting 75% of the mission. It's crazy.
I will say that one of the problems with having CDR though is I mean, if you have too much of it in base difficulty, even in Auric, right? Because we're talking about still balancing in Auric. Like as much as you can balance Havoc, like do you really want to have a button that turns off the game for Auric games?
Yeah.
Like just available? Because it's kind of the same problem with Rumbler, right? So it's like I'm fine if Havoc difficulty gets a modifier that says CDR is less useful. All right, sure. My dream has consistently been that I think CDR makes it hard to balance abilities to be both strong and fun and fair for
That's
the game
true.
difficulty, because the game has to have time to kill you.
Yeah, if you're always golded up, there's like zero chance you'll actually fucking die. Don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. And I think those kinds of things are worse in lower difficulties than higher difficulties. The enemies can punish me a lot harder in a high difficulty game. Yes, I'm better, but it's the case that like you can face tank more in lower difficulty. So if I have gold toughness every 15 seconds in low difficulty, then who's going to kill me? Who's going to ever risk running my game or ruining my game? So I don't know how to deal with that problem, but I think it's worth calling out. So, but the goal of this is to try and create some level of consensus, not necessarily say this is my opinions. Obviously, I have mine, and I would rather there not be CDR in the game because I think it's actually a problem. But I understand the logic of it's fun, so fair enough. But I will say that I play other video games as well. Like, hey, I play Marvel Rivals, and in Marvel Rivals, there's no CDR. You get your ult when you get your ult,
Yeah.
and it's based entirely on your skill expression and capacity to deal damage and so forth. So, and that one of the ways you dial in the balance, and I know it's a PvP game and not a PvE game, but the game is supposed, like in my mind, this game is supposed to be hard. That's what keeps me coming back to it instead of playing PvP games, because that's where the difficulty is. in
Wasn't
PvP.
oh man, you probably don't know, but maybe someone in chat can confirm. Wasn't like ultimate regenerated based on like damage dealt and stuff in Vermintide? Like I feel like that was the way it was. Is like the more hits you got on enemies, the faster you charged your ultimate bar, and like it encouraged actually playing. Versus like currently, like veterans can shoot like 2 specials and have an ultimate back. Yeah, okay, that's how it
Yeah.
was, yeah. And damage taken, yeah. So, like, yeah, if you got pushed into a bad situation, you get a free ultimate because you get your health mollywopped, but also, if you're doing good DPS, you'll get ult back. And the ults were also like a way longer cooldowns in that game, are way less effective. I mean, we're playing a fundamentally different game. This game is very much more MMO than Vermintide is. There's arguments as to which one is more difficult. This game is definitely more crazy and like scaled up in terms of like the threats that it throws at you. But I think each has its merits.
Okay.
This game is arcadey.
Well, let's put it down for now because
Sure.
we don't have a consensus on Malakator. We're probably not going to arrive at one. So fine. I don't, unless you think I'm wrong. I don't think there's any buffs needed on the Arbitrate's tree.
I'm all right. I think we're good.
All right. All right. Good.
Well,
All
let me
right,
hold on.
sick.
Let me think one more time. Terminus Warrant. Terminus Warrant needs buffs. That's it.
Terminus Warrant. All right.
Yeah.
Do something. Do something to make. Terminus
They
Warrant.
just say watch Mystery's video on Terminus Warrant. There you go.
Do something about Terminus Warrant. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but make sure that Fat Shark has to watch my video. I need those like 3 views.
All right. I'll
Is that
make.
okay?
Yeah. I don't even know if they watch my videos.
They don't watch any of our shit. I think they
know,
were
it's-
truly
we're just
surprised.
out
They were like,
here.
"Who are you?" When Catfish reached out to me, I was like, "I don't think they have any idea who we are." Until like a month ago. Maybe you, because you're in the tester program. But me, they were like, "Huh? Really? You have 15,000 subs and you cover
Maybe.
Darktide? Really?"
You cover Darktide? Oh.
Yeah, I think they were legitimately surprised. I don't think they had any idea.
The Terminus Warrant. Alright, Warrant? Suppression Force, I think that's the only middle node nobody takes. Okay. Middle node, Suppression Force.
What is
I mean,
that?
Suppression's amazing. I don't think people understand how
Oh,
good
the suppression. Yeah, this is the 25% extra suppression on the node there. Suppression is amazing, but I think suppression is just like jank for this fucking game. It's like it doesn't apply consistently, and it's like poorly explained, and it's just a bizarre thing.
Free impact, leave, damage up. Lone Wolf. Yeah, we didn't talk about Lone Wolf. Do you want to talk about Lone Wolf? I mean, I'm just going to put this on the table. I'll just put this on the table real quick. I think Lone Wolf may need to be addressed. However, I think the bigger issue with Lone Wolf isn't Lone Wolf itself. It is, like, yeah, I think maybe you could make the replenishment longer. Maybe make it by grenades, so you don't get to be able to spam grenades quite as fast, or
Yep.
whatever, right?
I think it's
but it
just
currently
punishment
has.
time or something like that.
I would target the replenishment time. I would maybe make it 75 seconds instead.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it's exactly matched with Vet, and he also doesn't have Vet's grenade capacity, and Vet's grenades are really strong and powerful, but also, like, the big thing with Arbitrate's grenades is there are, like, 4 nodes on this tree that give 15% damage reduction, or, I'm sorry, 15% damage
Yeah.
to his grenades.
Yeah, they're just flat
And
damage.
so,
yeah.
yeah, Agatha's right. We didn't touch on that at all. So, we should probably talk about just, like, can I just write it like this? Please nerf his endless 50. I'll clean this up. Endless 50% damage nodes for all damage sources. Can we say that? Like,
It is kind of nuts, yeah. It is kind of nuts. It's probably just completely overkill, honestly. Like, I don't think I'd feel the difference if they were all 10% nodes instead. I think most of my builds take at least, like, 3 or 4 of them. Like, it's
yeah.
it's
I mean, there's some
kinda
other things
crazy.
too. Like, I think drive them back should be brought down to 50%.
What's that?
5-0 from 7.5. It's 75% cleave for 5 seconds, affecting range and melee.
Oh, yeah, that one's a really crazy node. But people don't even... Because, like, players that aren't playing at a high skill level don't understand the effects of cleave, generally.
They don't.
So,
they don't.
like... You can make that
They
change.
probably
and
won't even
they
notice.
They wouldn't notice, yeah.
Yeah,
Guys,
I think
that's what we're
insane.
doing
And
here,
if we
guys.
get
We're
rid of, like,
sneaking
for
in
example,
nerfs,
weight of the
and you won't
Lex,
even notice it.
weight of the Lex is 15% damage for 5 seconds on heavy melee attack. You do something you do every freaking second,
Yeah.
and then your grenade does 15% more damage, and that's just like ludicrous.
Yeah, I think that I think the grenade regeneration thing being as fast as it is, plus all the other buffs, it just completely eats. I love saying eats Vet's lunch, but yeah, it just completely eats Vet's lunch. I mean, like, he has like 4 different nodes in order to get what that gives. It gives it +1 quantity, 1 regenerated every second. Like, it gives so much stuff that's on the Vet tree for 1 node, and all you lose is the. I mean, the dog is still good, but like, it's crazy. And he gets a cap of 5 on these RBD's nades that are just so good. Like, it's crazy. And shock mines aren't half bad either. 3 shock mines, you just win the game.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, shock lines are crazy.
I think lowering the
it's
cooldown would
too
probably
much.
be a great, just a great simple place to start. And you just lower it, just knock it to 75 seconds. That won't make a huge difference, but it might just like curb some of the endless spam.
Let's make it 75% on Lone Wolf. I can agree to that, and it's a sensible nerf that most people will not even be bothered by. I think that's good. How about, there's one other node that just somebody called out in the chat, which they're right about, True Grit. It's the health damage taken for 50. I feel like that should be 75.
Sure. I don't know if that necessarily matters a huge amount. You know, yeah, it'll stop you from getting overheaded or whatever, but like, so that only matters for like high skill players, because that's the only way that you will fuck up, and like that's the only way you die when you're like a really like a 1%er or like a less than 1%er, is you take an accidental like bullshit hit, like some mauler skated through the terrain and clipped you by like 1 inch. That's the only way you're dying on those difficulties, or with that level of skill. And for everybody else, like True Grit, it doesn't effectively really do anything, because like a Reaper will still kill you instantly if it breaks your toughness, because those are all 50 damage hits. Like, you're just dead. So, and most of the time, you're not only taking those critical, 50 damage blocked hits. Like, yes, ostensibly, like, theoretically, if you only take Crusher overheads as the only way of taking damage, you could tank 3 of them, which is a lot, and this would lower it to 2. But for most players, like the vast majority of players, you're taking other chip and stuff. And so, like, I mean, shit, True Grit saved me sometimes, but a lot of other times I just get fucking destroyed by gunners and fire and shit.
Yeah,
like
gunners
that.
and shooters like blow you up anyway.
Yeah.
I think True Grit is, but here's the thing: if you have, if you health max on the class, you can take like 5 or 6 overheads without dying, which is probably not good.
I guess.
Not even Ogryn can take that many. And if you just make it 75 instead, it's still an insanely strong node, but it's just like, okay, at least it's not like that's a significant difference in the number of overheads you can take without dying.
Yeah, but that's specifically like overheads, right? Like one-shot abilities like that. Yeah, he can't be like hit by one shot, but he can be hit by everything else, like small hits and stuff like that. Still, like what's it like? Effectively, that only does anything against Crusher and Mauler overheads, and snipers and bursters, right? Does bursters count? Bursters count, I believe.
Bursters count, yeah.
And that's it. And boss overheads, and that would be it. So I don't know. I think it's a niche use case that really only comes into effect when like that's the last possible thing that you need armor against, because you've got like everything else handled. But for like the vast majority of players, I guess they wouldn't care about the 75 cap, but it really wouldn't be useful for them at all then. With 75. I guess in the same vein, it's probably also not being played by any like players below a certain level, because there's almost nothing that does 50 damage.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too. There's very little it does.
Yeah, like when you're playing anything outside of Havoc, I can't think about any enemies that are doing more than 50 health damage through your toughness, or even with your toughness fully broken. Havoc is the only time where that starts to really scale. So, I don't know. I just say leave that one at where it is. I don't really think it's causing an issue. That seems like a very niche thing, and, I'd rather just leave it be than start fucking with something.
Alright, well, it doesn't have to, like I said, our goal is to try to arrive at things that we agree in consensus. I disagree with you.
Hard disagree. I quit. Alright, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Alright, so I wanted to talk to you about Chorus. You are a true Chorus connoisseur. You are a user of Chorus. I run away from Chorus pretty much. And so...
Stay in coherency, please.
What... I just got blown up by a burster on screen. Nice. So, what... I don't think that the CDR interaction with Chorus is healthy for the game.
No shit.
Let's assume, though. Yeah, so, but let's leave that off the table for a second, because I want to talk about what you would do with Chorus. The thing I actually think the problem is with Chorus is you press button and you do nothing.
You don't get to do
7
anything.
seconds.
Yeah, it sucks. That is the problem inherently with it. It is a dreadfully boring ability to use. It just sucks, and it also happens to be ridiculously effective. It is completely putting the game on pause. The problem is, as I said, it puts your game on pause too. So yeah, I could take a sip of my drink and stuff like that. But it'd be great if it had, like, you could do some stuff while that was going on, and it just had a lessened effect. Or I don't know how they would like lessen the effect of it. I really like the effect, and it's a quality one that I enjoy having around. I think that the obvious problem with it is the absurd cooldown reduction that the class can have. I mean, you've probably seen some of my like gameplay with it, where it's like, okay, the chorus literally just ended. Okay, I'm chorusing again. It's like, okay, that's definitely not what it's designed around, because it's a far too big of a safety blanket at that point. It's like borderline shout levels. But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's like,
So I think the one that's the most obvious outlier here is Invocation of Death, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the one that makes that happen.
yeah, part of it, yeah.
So probably let's pull that down. I don't know to what 100% instead of 200% regeneration. Is it?
It's
How does it
200%.
work
Yeah, it's
on-
triple.
Yeah. How does it work on?
What?
It was already nerfed once before. Wasn't
No,
it?
it was it was changed from being shit, I can't even remember what it was back in the day. But in the beta branch for like when they were like showcasing what it was going to be, it actually got buffed from there to having it was plus 150%, then it went to 200%. But yeah, it just starts
Yeah.
it starts a second timer. It starts a second cooldown timer that removes 2 seconds every second. So sometimes you'll see it like count backwards and do all sorts of weird shit because of the way that it calculates that. But yeah, it's pretty good, I'll say. That would be a really big nerf to the class. But I mean, obviously this would be done alongside other buffs to the class that would make him powerful in other regards, allowing his skill tree to be more diverse. But yeah, if you nerfed Invocation of Death, you would really, really hurt the class's, damage throughput on things like Fury of the Faithful and stuff. So I would be, I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, because it is pretty excessive how often and how impactful those ultimates are. But yeah, it would really hurt like just about every spec of Zealot quite a bit.
I will say that I find that so I agree. I use it a lot with FOTF, and it does impact him. So I do think that you can nerf it without destroying the character. And I think the problem is that the cooldown reduction on Chorus is so crazy. Like you just have it all the time. And
Yeah.
It's an ability that turns off the game, and I don't think that's healthy. So I don't know. Like, do you agree that Invocation of Death should be nerfed, or we should not nerf it? I guess we'll start there.
I think that perhaps maybe it should be a, you know what? If it was a thing that existed underneath Fury of the Faithful, it could only be gotten when you were choosing Fury of the Faithful, I think it would be fine. Because it also has a really toxic interaction with Shroudfield, obviously. Shroudfield, you can chain Shroudfield all day as well with it too.
It does. That's
So,
true.
like, and we have to assume, we can't assume anything about like what abilities will remain, or I'm assuming that they'll keep the general spirit of them in any rework that would potentially come, but we don't know. But I think that if there's going to be an ability like that just does 6.6 seconds or whatever it is of just nothing gets to do anything and everybody gets their toughness back, full reset, suppresses every enemy in the field, yeah, it's probably not healthy that it has a 15-second cooldown. But I don't want to hurt Fury of the Faithful, because Fury of the Faithful feels good and is good when you have lots of charges to throw out. That's just the essence of the class. And Shroudfield feels like a bunch of cheesy bullshit, because you can literally just like not even play the game. Well, I mean, you are playing the game, but you are playing it from like the nth dimension, where you're just backstabbing everything, chain backstabbing, and getting full resets every 2 seconds, and just dumping aggro constantly. It's kind of nuts. I don't know how much of that is the fault of Pious Cutthroat, the 20% cooldown instantly on backstab kill.
Yeah.
That's like the icing on the cake. Like, you know, because you can start off every chorus, like every time you come into a chorus, just position yourself behind an enemy, get a free 12 seconds knocked off your cooldown. Kind of nuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something should be done. Not exactly clear. Could stick another FOTF. Maybe nerf its values. Just something is okay. Let's just say.
Oh, someone had an
That sounds fair.
interesting idea that like the longer you hold chorus for, the more like holy power it builds up, and so like you get a longer chorus if you haven't used it in a while. That's kind of an interesting idea. I like the idea of an ability like that that has like it'd be cool to see them experiment with ideas that are outside of like just press button and it does it right now. It's like, okay, if you hold it down, you use up some of your juice, your holy chorus juice, and you get a certain amount per like this time period, and you can choose to use a lot or a little for like various effects. That's really cool. I don't know if that's exactly what that person meant, but that's where it made my brain go. Write all that down.
So I wanted to talk about that specifically on this course. Then we got distracted by
Yeah.
Invocation of Death just because you mentioned it. And it is a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix it necessarily either, but you know, I have a more strident stance on cooldown than some people, and that's fine. Yeah, I got blown up Moo Machine. It's actually really funny. Okay, so chorus. Somebody proposed a rework. Rework options could do like a time since use.
Is there
Results in more power.
is there
an
any
interest you have? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is there? I'm trying to think because I don't know a whole lot about Marvel Isles, but is there any? They all just have regular ultimates, right? Does anybody have an ultimate that you can use at like a lower percentage and like it's like? Man, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent in another game, but like
I can't think of anything where you can like use a weaker version.
I'm thinking of like having a resource bar that like drains, like you have an energy, like a battery that like is your holy book battery, and the longer you hold up the book, the more battery you drain. But you can hold it up for like just one pulse and it drains like a little bit of battery, and then you can hold it up for like a full 8 seconds if you hold it all the way to full, and then like your gameplay
like
can charge the battery. Yeah, like a stamina sort of thing. Yeah, channel sounds cool, and that way you can just stop it at any time, and you could flex in like one pulse every now and then. It would be really, really cool to be able to do that, because right now it feels like, I mean, I pressed course, I might as well just commit to the whole thing because everything's paused anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, certain MOBAs have that mechanic. Yeah.
Is there? I mean, I think the big problem with it is it turns off a lot of the video game, and it's very strong, and it isn't fun to use. So, is there anything else you would do to try and make it fun?
I would make it so they just recently changed it to be so you can mantle and stuff with it going. I love that about it. I love that you can use it to reposition and just kind of like make your way around the arena. It does. You are a little bit way too safe while you're doing it, but it would be cool if you could do some like one-handed actions such as like interacting with stuff and like potentially even like attacking or like shooting a one-handed weapon while it's going on. I don't know. Like maybe that would be too crazy, but you'd have to bring down its power level in terms of like the safety blanket that it's providing if you were going to do that. If you were going to make it like a combat and ability thing. But I think that would be like the way that would be much more fun to play around, is if like, yeah, you can do these actions while you're doing it, like rescuing and stuff. Then you could be more useful than just standing there and waiting for it to end.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I don't know. It's just so boring. I don't know how to fix it either. Like reworks would be. As long as you're up for it, because you're kind of like I'm using you as the poster child for chorus, right? And if you're like, I don't think it's fun.
I'm the poster child for chorus.
Have to stand there and just hold the Funko Pop. Then okay, cool. You know, I realize there's going to be. I listen, chat. Someone in here is going to be like, no, I like doing that. Totally fine. I get it. I understand that there's a target market for this, which is why my recommendation for the thing has always been to deal with the cooldown so that, you know, other players can play the game too, and you can just keep your thing, right? That's the easiest, simplest solution I could think of. It impacts the least number of people. It just makes it weaker by making it less frequent, and it's still just incredibly strong when you pull it out, okay?
Yeah.
But I think that the ability could be more fun than it is. Like, I've heard people suggest, like, what if there was like a DDR mechanic where you have to like tap in time to the tune of your pulses
Jesus.
or whatever. Could be fun. I don't know. Not
I
really
think they
my
should
cup
make it
of
like a
tea, not my type of game.
DBD mechanic where if you don't spam the key fast enough, it cancels the chorus. You just go.
And so I just there could be other ways to do it. I don't know what the best way is. I'm just saying.
Don't
Is there a
write
way,
that idea down. That whatever that idea was with the DDR mechanic, do not put that down.
It's not in there. I'm not
Do
gonna
do not manifest that shit. Holy fuck.
Ordo says I would hate that. Other people say they would hate
Oh
it.
my god.
The Bard of Darktide, yeah. Just pulls out.
Oh
flute
yeah,
and
it's a
starts
fucking
playing.
Mordhau bard.
All I'm saying is that creative ideas have been proposed.
I think by
don't-
far the best one I really like is that channeling idea that someone had, where you have like
Channeling idea, okay,
just like you
cool.
have a certain
Great,
amount
that's
to
fine.
use, and you can just stop at any time. Yeah.
No one likes this idea. Well, good. At least there's a consensus on this one.
Oh, here's
It's
another
not
good
my
idea. You
I
have
disavow any ownership of the idea. I am forwarding
Hit
it
the
from the
mic up.
community. All right, this is a community post. You guys get to tell me you don't like it, and that's cool because I'm not a stake.
Someone said
Alright, so,
you
listen, the
can't
big
use
thing
it
I wanted
unless
to
you have
know
a
is,
mic
hey,
and
can
you have to sing into the mic in order to get to activate. That sounds good.
Chorus nerf. Zealot player actually has to scream for the effort.
Yeah, you have to scream however long you can scream. It's how long the chorus goes.
There you go. Alzheimer's combos for chorus. All right, cool. I'm glad we're all in agreement. Then that doesn't sound like fun gameplay, but at least I pitched it. All right. Somebody got their idea out there. I don't even remember who it was, but it's been pitched.
That's a good idea too. One last idea is like giving it a damage over time effect. If you can get enemies into the aura, damaging them, so it would encourage you to like position in such a way like you could use it offensively to like kill enemies and maybe like reduce its defensive capabilities at the same time. Like to not make it a completely defensive. Like hey, I just stand around doing nothing. Like actually have this thing like erase a horde or something like that. Because right now it literally just presses pause, which is boring. It'd be cool if it was like a little bit of a nuke too.
It would be interesting if it had something. Although if it was a nuke as well, like I don't know. I worry
It just
about that.
stack some
it's a
fire
button that
dots
just
or
blows up the
something.
game.
I don't think it would.
That would be
just
cool.
Like just if
I don't
you
know.
the more
I had
pulses.
an idea that you could like take it and it could do like a raycast, like a little holy beam of light, and all it would do is knock the things over that you looked at the tent. How am I chatting and playing at the side of them? Well, I don't know if you know this, Bless, but I can actually play the video game while I talk to people. However, in this case, this is just recorded footage from the other night.
Oh,
I was
is that what
playing
you're
Havoc
doing?
40s. Yeah, I was just playing Havoc 40s.
I was
I'm not
wondering when I
playing
looked at your
right
thing. I was like, no way.
No.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
that's what I
not
thought.
quite so capable. I have some recorded footage I was going to use for B-roll, and I was running an Eviscerator in Havoc 40 and having a fun time. And combat shotgun. It was great.
I am
has
fully
wins,
capable
losses,
of playing
whatever.
Bully Club Ogryn on Auric difficulty and talking at the same time. So that's what the brain power I'm working with. Just walking away.
Okay, let's talk enemies. I think we're making okay time because I had about 4 hours scheduled for this.
Jesus.
Unless we, need to run. But we can make it shorter than that.
I
I
don't know.
promise. You don't have to.
I don't
keep
know.
it
We'll
all
finish
time.
when we finish.
Yeah, dots. Listen, I'm not going to address dots in this chat. Dots are a problem. I don't
true, yeah.
have a solution for that. But it's a core mechanics problem. It needs to be dealt with somehow. I don't know what to do about dots. Okay, dots and rending are like the two evils of the game. But I'm not here to make the case that we must rebalance the entire game. I want to talk about specific things that we can look to improve the game balance, like enemies. So, okay, spawns. I mentioned spawns. We talked about this a little bit in both our videos. How do you feel about the notion of reducing enemy elite spam so we can tune things down without ruining the game? Hey, Vinny, how you doing?
Yeah, so like that has to come alongside a general increase in like enemy threat level. Like I am fully behind, and this is a preview for everybody. This is a video that I'm working on. It's like, okay, every enemy in this game is super brain dead simple. There are almost no enemies with complex movesets at all outside of the twins, and so the only way the game has of scaling the difficulty, other than throwing 1 quadrillion specials at you, is throwing 1 quadrillion crushers at you. And like, okay, so the difficulty of crushers isn't that they have this like tricky moveset that you have to learn how to outplay. It's just, do we do enough DPS to kill the horde before it gets to us? So that like we could tune down the number of spawns if individually spawns were more of a threat in like different ways. So that's like a more complicated, discussion. But
Yeah, of course.
in general, like I definitely am in favor of just reducing the crazy amount of spam. Like it's absurd. Like it doesn't even really look like you can't. Like unless you have on a Havoc 40 and certain seeds especially like have this issue, unless you have players on your team who are capable of widespread destruction, which is Rumbler and Flamestaff and like Ogryn like just bullying everything in front of him. Unless you have that stuff, you just can't like feasibly cut through everything. It removes the back in the day it was like, all right, here's a pack of 5 crushers. I need to dodge around them and like stab this one, stab that one, do a slide here, hit this one in the back, block this attack, dodge that attack. There was some thought put into it. Now it's like, okay, there's 3 bulwarks, 8 crushers, and behind them there's 6 gunners. I just need to kind of throw my fucking nuclear bomb at this shit and just erase it. Like you're not fighting it with like a conventional melee weapon anymore. You're just pulling out the flamer and annihilating it because like I can't be fucking arsed to deal with that shit. There's just too much stuff. It unravels. Like we both talked about the combat puzzle. There's a certain point where there's too many pieces. Like there's really no feasible way to do it with conventional weaponry. You can't just like have executioner's chance and shoot all the enemies in the head because there's just too many fucking enemies. So I would love if they reduced the numbers to levels where you can actually freaking like compete with the normal stuff.
Where you can interact with it and the way it was meant to be interacted with.
Yeah, because I'm not interacting with anything anymore. Like if I'm playing RBDs, everything is staggered to the ground and I'm beating it to death while it's on the ground. If I'm playing Ogryn, it's more the same, or it's Rumbler, or I'm pulling it towards me and I'm Rumbler exploding it. If I'm playing Zealot, I'm chorusing and I'm sneaking around behind it and stabbing it in the back 3 times, and then I'm chorusing again. And like at no point am I really like ever engaging very many enemies in melee that's not completely lopsided. Like I'm not just like completely clobbering this enemy to death in the first hit. And like you don't, it's been a long time since I've really had to worry about how to dodge like this. And the only enemies that I ever really feel myself flexing those skills on anymore is bosses, because they're the only ones that last long enough to even do it, and they're the only ones that have like a good variety of movesets that are impactful. And it feels cool when you're like, all right, I can perfectly like perfect this boss. I dodged all of its overheads, I dodged all of its side swipes, I kited it out while it was doing its rolling attack.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly it. I feel like we agree exactly on this. It's like I no longer have the one-on-one or not even one-on-one, but like 1-on-5 interaction. The gameplay capable interaction where I get to walk in and I get to like demonstrate my competence against enemies that actually are like I'm going to engage in them, and I don't have to worry about 3 overheads coming from behind the 3 guys I'm already fighting. It's like I'm just fighting these guys, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna duke it out. It's a duel. I don't know if you know this. Just real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick, Vinny. Thank you for the memberships. I really appreciate it. I do, and just much appreciated. Mr. Casey, thank you also for the memberships. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Where's my memberships, Vinny? What the hell? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Someone's got to throw some down.
Vinny's
but I just
your
want to say
guy.
this. Like, I don't know if you know
He's
this,
your-
but Crushers have like 6 attacks.
Yeah, but I almost never see any of them.
I just discovered one yesterday.
Yep.
They elbowed me in the face.
They added one.
Like,
They added that. They had to have added that.
Oh,
I've
okay.
never seen it before.
Yeah.
It happened to me 2 days ago, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
I just got elbowed.
And
and I've played this game so many hours.
I swear there was one that I saw that added. I also had a crusher that totally pulled a glitch on me. He did 2 side swipes with me, like with the horizontal sweep the other day. They have. Were you talking about the one where he hits you with the butt of the maul? Is that the elbow?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Okay, that one existed.
It looked like an elbow. But
That one existed. Yeah, he does kind of put his elbow up. That one existed before. It's very rare though. But yeah,
it's very rare. And there's a punch and there's a kick.
because
and
it's
there's a punch.
it's a range thing, right? They'll like channel certain attacks based on where you are. If you crowd them too much, they'll throw out those kicks and those punches.
Yes,
But
it is.
I feel like there's a lot of undervalued mechanics and complexity that could be had from enemies if they just were allowed to have some breathing room of actually existing for more than 1 millisecond in the game, and that could be done by raising their HP.
Could be.
But then you'd have to lower the numbers, and I think that would be better.
We should. I think we should like giga buff crushers. It was actually. So I'm just gonna bring this up. It was actually I was talking to Tanner at one point. Not that I've never had a similar idea, but he was like, just give Crushers like a bazillion HP, and then just like reduce their spawn rates
give
a lot.
them 100,000 HP. There you go.
Yeah.
Or like literally like what do they have now? 5,000 or something? 6,000?
Yeah. Like he was
Give
like,
them 20.
like you could give them like 10,000 HP. You could have their spawn rate, and you could double their speed, or like their foot speed maybe, or like maybe 1.5 it, whatever, and just like let them be like basically a mini boss spawn,
Yeah.
and that would be sick. I feel like that'd be so.
I think that could be applicable to a lot of enemies in the game. It lowers the impact of these elites when they're every elite, and they're also like the tools that we have just completely foil them. They just fall over dead in
Yes.
like 1 second. So yeah, I would love if like they were actually like a challenging fight. Because I mean, go play Vermintide 2. All my homies in chat, go play Vermintide 2 and pull a Chaos Patrol. Okay, your game is fucking over, right? That shit is scary as fuck. Like especially if you're on Cataclysm, there's like 20 Chaos Warriors in there. Those guys are beefy as fuck. You have to hit them like no joke, like 10 times in the head with a bill hook to put one of them down. That's without them being buffed by anything. Like those guys are crazy. We're killing these guys in like 3 like light attacks with an Ogryn puts one of these guys down.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. And the only time they're even like another point is like people are talking about stagger resistance. It's like they need some stagger resistance, man. Like they should be almost never staggerable, and certainly not by guns. Except for I'll give space to the plasma gun and the bolter, and that's it. Like maybe, probably not, because then someone would just only take those, right? Like just make them crazy, and then make them rare. Like make them crazy and rare, and it's fine. And now I have something to interact with when the game gets scary. God, I flubbed that so hard on screen just now. But yeah, they need to be more like Chaos Warriors and less like what they are now, which is big poxwalkers.
Yeah, that's my complaint, and that's so my video, which I haven't recorded anything for yet. I've just like scripted it out, but my video is about like because I play a lot of like roguelikes, and so Risk of Rain 2 is a thing, right? And Risk of Rain 2 has all these different enemies that you start out with really simple enemies that have very obvious attack patterns, and then you scale up into enemies that have kind of scary attack patterns, and then you scale up into these boss enemies that are just genuinely fucking terrifying to be in the same space as. And that game, even though you're getting crazy overpowered, it always has the potential to kill you because these enemies are just so scary and have so many different attacks and can surprise you in like all these different ways. And every enemy in this game has like, even Poxwalkers have the same amount of attacks as Crushers. They have 4 different attacks, or like 3 or 4 different attacks, right? It's just they hit less and they have less health. Like that's the only fundamental difference. So there needs to be something special that larger health and larger enemies can do that makes them like an actual threat at all stages of the game. Removing the ability to stagger them would be huge, because then they actually get to do what they're intended to do. But at the same time, you'd have to definitely lower their numbers if you did that, because, I mean, if you have the Chaos Spawn Patrols in Vermintide 2, or as someone said, it's a rolling chain of overheads, just one after another, that's exactly what would end up happening here. But yeah, it would like encourage like actual counterplay where you're like blocking and shit.
Yeah. Yep. I just think, yeah. I think we're kind of on the same page here, so that's cool. Let me just say,
Barks incoming.
buff Crushers, health, HP, and movement. Maybe attack speed. Oh, and stagger resistance. HP and stagger resistance.
Yeah, I'm kind of fine with their
movement,
attack
maybe
speed. Like, I don't think they need to throw their attacks out any faster. I think they actually did add an attack. I think the punch is new. I don't remember seeing that left-hand punch like that.
I think it's been around for a while, but it's definitely rare.
It's rare.
But because it comes from the Chaos Warrior, right? Chaos Warriors have had it. Buff Crushers, HP, stagger resistance, and movement. Speed, reduce spawn numbers to account for this. All right, there we go. Why only Crushers? Maulers are interesting because they're more interactive, but and I'm not saying they should not receive some sort of buff, but the fact that they can be interacted with other melee attacks is nice. Like, you can stagger them more easily. That's fine. They're dangerous in their own right when there's lots of them around, but they they usually can be handled in melee.
I would like if they had something
Crushers-
to really differentiate them from Crushers, though. They effectively have the same. They
Yeah,
have the
they
same
do.
moveset, and they still overhead you and kill you in one hit. It'd be cool if they had
something.
some sort of role that, like, I would really like, because there's like one enemy type that actually has a role that when it shows up in melee, it's scary. It's the fucking Rager, right? When you get surrounded, when the game spawns a million Ragers, you're like, oh shit, I need to fucking wake up, because these guys will surround you and they'll beat you to death in 1 second. Everything else is
They
just
will.
like, okay, well, I'll just stagger it and I'll evade it. So those guys, honestly, I'm pretty fine with where Rages are at. It's just like, yeah, all these other guys have like no moves that are going to hit you, and if they do hit you, they're going to kill you instantly. So yeah, Maulers. I don't know what it would be, but Maulers should have some sort of like pseudo special ability. And I don't want to put elites on the level of specials, but I do want to make certain elites are all scarier in their own way. So when you're like, oh shit, there's a couple like bulwarks, right? But bulwarks are boring as fuck. So we'll get to bulwarks hopefully.
Yeah, we're gonna get to bulwarks right now.
Okay. Well, bulwarks. I've always had an idea for it, and this is an idea that was given. I'm stealing it from a person who used to play test for the game, who told me, he's like, "Listen, imagine this. Bulwarks right now are just a walking fucking annoyance where they just block all damage from one side. They are super uninteractive. They drag the game to a fucking crawl whenever they exist." What if bulwarks at long ranges would intentionally position themselves so that you couldn't shoot through them for like towards enemy ranged units who are covering behind them, and then if you put enough damage into them or into their shields or approach them, they enter into an aggro mode where they come forward and they start like actually shoving you and like pushing you back and like disrupting your position, but at the same time they're raising their shield and they're making themselves vulnerable. Like, there needs to be something done about bulwarks where they're just not just like shoving their fucking shield in your face and just ignoring all your attacks, because it's boring as fuck, and I hate waiting around like for 9 hours to wait for one of them to lower their shield. And so by necessity, I just bring the things that just kill them around the shield, flame staff, rumbler, all that shit. Bulwark shield should have HP as well. That would maybe
I
maybe
feel
if
like
like
they
you
should.
could just destroy the rumbler, the bulwark shield after a while, then they could enter into the rage mode. I definitely love that rage mode idea where they just become a berserker and they just start like hurling uppercuts and shoving you back, like the way that when Rinda, like the twins, hit you, she like pushes you around. That would be super cool.
What do we think of making shield breakable, chat? Because I am
Maulers
open
with
to
the
that one.
Rinda lunge attack.
I hate bulwarks. I'll do anything is ethical against bulwarks. I don't care. So we can do anything to them. It doesn't matter. I hate them so much. They are so unfun. They are the absolute destruction of gameplay team. They roll in and they ruin my ability to interact with the game, and then I just get to seethe at my screen while I hope that I brought something with AOE damage to knock them over.
Yep. Just
I mean, you know what?
gotta knock
I
them over.
can literally put a vote, start a QA, start a poll. No, start a poll. Bulwark shields breakable.
Yeah, I
Option
mean,
yes or no. There
they're
you go.
better
Here's
than
my
when they
poll.
started the game and they had a 75, like they had a 270-degree block radius, and you literally couldn't hit them at all. It was crazy. Remember that?
Oh, I know. Oh my god, the literal magic force.
You
field
literally
shield.
had to get another teammate to come around behind them and stab them in the back because you couldn't hit them. There was no angle you could get on them. There was like one frame you could hit them when they were swinging, and that was it. It's crazy. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in like having enemies with staged aggression, where like they have like
me too.
a
I
slow
agree.
mode where they're like behaving a certain way, but once they enter a certain threshold, I think that's sort of a missed potential with the red buff that exists in Havoc, where like, yeah, woohoo, they're like stagger immune or whatever. But if they just had a fundamentally different set of things they did once they entered rage mode, that would be quite scary. And I think that ultimately is where I would love to see the difficulty curve for Darktide taken, is like, okay, you know, normal difficulties, stay where they're at, leave the enemies as they are, but Havoc, new enemy attacks, new enemy threats, like just surprise us, make up some shit that is like just genuinely not fair for the enemies to do. You know, someone said make the Maulers have the Rinda Karnak's lunging attack, where she charges towards you at a million miles an hour.
Rush you down.
Just
We mean literally destroy the shield. Yeah, we mean literally destroy.
yeah,
the
just
shield.
shatter the shield. Yeah.
There
Or
is
at
a
least
poll. I
at
posted
least
1
like
minute ago. It has 57
maybe
votes.
like break the
Go.
corner off of it or something. Like it like takes damage and like it loses pieces of it so that you can
Shield.
actually hit the guy in the face.
Part or whole. Something to make them more interactive. I like the berserker concept. I think that would require some thought, but I think it's cool. I think I've long argued that we have a problem with the elites, with the Ogryn elites, which is we have bulwarks, which are horrible, and I hope they all go away, and we have crushers, which are cool but are too easy to kill right now, and then we have reapers, which are just like pretty scary actually, but you know they're and spawn in too large of numbers, honestly. But I think that what we really need is like an Ogryn berserker, like somebody who's just unyielding and they come in small packs and they're basically just ragers with big, and they ruin my life, and that would be good. Like they don't have to have as much health as like a crusher, but they could just ruin my life in melee. That'd be cool. That'd be fine.
Yeah, just someone that actually gets like a full like proper aggressive. Because right now I feel like so many of the enemies like just have this very if I can get to him, I'll kill him. Like no one's fast. Like the only Rinda is fast. Everything else can just be outrun, outpositioned, and that allows you to just kite backwards and stagger forever. So if there was like actually enemies, like even ragers are fucking slow as hell. Like if there's actually enemies that would like just completely gap you in a leg race and close that distance and punish you for trying to like run away or something like that. Having to like stand your ground and deal with those threats.
Fast that can run you down.
Because that's like, you know, that's mutants, but they're just annoying.
True. And if you know how to position, they just don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Except for rarely. I mean, occasionally they ruin your game, but like it's usually it's a soft kind of thing, and it's good. It's good. It's like that for the most part. But okay, cool. I think we're good on enemies, unless you have something else you want to add. There is one thing I want to add about enemies, which is more about events.
I don't know. Just generally, I mean, this is my prediction for the end of the year. It'll probably the last update of the year is that there will be new enemy types of some sort added. I don't know. So that's what I'm really hoping. I think that would be a lifeblood for this game. Like that's probably what the second biggest thing people are excited for after classes, and that would change a lot.
I really agree.
If like the complexity of enemies goes up a lot, that would fundamentally turn the game on its head. If there was like, you know, I'm not saying add beastmen because beastmen were fucking obnoxious, but we do kind of honestly need like beastmen level obnoxious added at some point, like charging enemies like that, stuff that throws you out of position, stuff that like honestly surprises you. Because right now it's like every enemy approaches at the same walking speed. They have the same 4 attacks that we've seen a million times, and half the time they don't even get to get the attacks off. So, womp womp.
Yeah. So we will probably. So my feeling is, I've said this a long time, is like we would like if. What am I trying to say? I think that new enemies, it would be huge for the game. And I've said this for the last 2 years. The 2 things that Fat Shark can do to make the game better, faster, aside from like making it balanced and fair and fun, is adding new classes and adding new enemies. And the reason for that is new enemies change the combat puzzle, and it's exponential. You add 1 new enemy, and it interacts with all the other enemies in the game to make the combat puzzle harder, right? So you add 2, and it's like that. It's that times itself again, right? And that's huge. Oh man, I think I screwed this up. Oh no, I lived. Amazing. And then and new classes, of course, is a completely new set of ways to interact with the enemies. And
it's new classes, new enemies are the multiplying factors.
And people will often say they want new maps, and like I totally understand why. It's really cool to have a new map, but new maps do not actually change the game very much.
Yeah, you'll get bored of the new map. It's like literally, I mean, what? There's 23, 24 maps in the game, so you'll get what? 4% extra maps in the pool if you get a new map. And we get RBDs. That's 25% extra like game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, look, at some point, you're gonna like it's just gonna be another corridor. It's gonna be another metal corridor, man. How many different?
I'm hoping that they're moving away from that, because their last couple maps have been pretty fucking peak. Like they're definitely getting way better at making maps and classes and stuff. So I'll give them that. It's been a while since they released a map.
Look, the map design has always been good in this game. That's not it. It's just like you're gonna have choke points, you're gonna have open spaces, and like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's gonna be, you can only interact with that so many ways. But if you have new classes and enemies, you get a lot of value for your buck. So
yeah, $12.
Okay. One last thing, and I'm sure Agatha will appreciate me mentioning this. It comes up to me often, and it is often on my radar. I don't know if you noticed, but event spawns are broken. They basically spawn nothing but Groaners and Poxwalkers and the occasional Rager. Like, there's just nothing.
What do you mean
Bigs and
event
gunners.
spawns? Like
Okay, so
like horde
midpoints.
horde calls?
Yeah, hordes.
Okay.
Hordes during midpoints, horde during endpoints. So, like, think of Smelter Complex. You get to the middle of the game, and there's that middle area we have to wait for the horizontal or the diagonal elevator, and it just takes. Like, a decade.
Yeah. Those things are super boring. Yeah, I think there's
Super
a lot
boring.
of events like that that just need to have a full redo. I mean, the Coliseum fight on HL 7004 at the end, where you just stand around for 8 years after like there's like a
Yep.
you light the flares. There's a kind of a hard fight, and then nothing happens for about 7 minutes. You're just standing there.
Yeah.
Those events, they need bosses. They need a good saturation of elites and specials. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that.
Yeah. I wanted to call it out. I'm glad you have also noticed that they're just kind of like having a nap over here for some unknowable reason. And it's just, they need to stop that so I can have interest in my video game.
Yep.
It just died so good in that clip there. That was just nasty. Okay, so let's take 3 minutes and then come back and we'll talk weapons. I have the entire list of weapons, chat. Look at this. I came ready. I don't know if we'll be able to go through it. We'll try to go through it by classes, and then we'll come back to, and then we can go through, like, if there's a specific weapon that needs to call out, like, this particular pattern sucks, but, like, we can come back to that. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Alright, we'll be back.
One v one me. You can't handle it. Oh fuck! I swapped weapons. What's she doing there? Is she picking me up? Or is it just, it's just hurling me when she hits me? Oh, it's the kick. Okay, interesting. I don't know. It'll be definitely next year, Franana. It'll be like, I would guess 1 year, maybe 9 months if you're lucky. Here's my predictions for end of year. I think it's gonna be a veteran rework, new weapons, new map for fall, and I think it's going to be some sort of content. I'm hoping new enemies added plus Zealot rework in December. That's my hope, and that's sort of how I feel the trend is. I definitely feel like they should be able to get the reworks out within the year. Both of those classes, at least. I think, in my estimation, I think Psyker is probably the least in need of it. So I think they would prioritize Psyker last. I just got yeeted into non-existence, I guess. Oh, there I am. Yeah, it's... I honestly, like, I'm very pleased with the progress that Fat Shark's been making lately with the game. It's been rough going, honestly, at spots, but I think we finally hit that classic Fat Shark 2.5 year stride, where we can really, like, you know, spread our wings and fly and get some good stuff going. The RBDs is a ton of fucking content. The game has a ton of content between Havoc and Mortis Trials. I haven't even played Auric Mortis yet. Yeah, Zealot, whatever the next thing is coming is going to be in September, late September. That's how it's been the last couple of years. They'll be back in early August. They'll give us their tease in like mid to late August, and then it'll be a month until the release of the fall update. That's how it's been the last 2 years. So I have to imagine they're sticking with that trend. And honestly, that's not that bad, right? We're pretty close to that already, and there's plenty of stuff to do till then. I just really, really hope that it's a rework.
Well, that's the wrong one. There we go. I'm back. I hope you don't need a break.
I am still here.
All right, fantastic. All right, let's. If it's okay with you, I thought we would just go through the weapons and see if there's any like specific call-outs that need to be done on this. I know. So there's going to be a group of people who aren't in love with all the decisions we've made, but they're consensus level, right? It's like, hey, this stuff is too much, this stuff is too little, and and chat did not cry too much about any of them, so I think we're probably on target for what the audience looks like. So that's good. If anybody still argues with me, I will give you some time to comment by giving you some, you can go take a look at the back and just be like, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I really need this, okay? All good. But let's talk weapons. So let's start with the combat axes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, let's start with the axes.
Okay.
As far as I know, all the axes, combat axes, tactical axes, and pickaxes are all in a really good spot right now.
Yeah,
they're all
fine.
strong. They're all...
I
some
think
of them are
the
insane.
Atlas axe is the only one that stands out to me as needing it just needs a new move set assigned to it. It's just a jank ass move set that sucks and has no reason to exist
True.
alongside the Rashad and the Antax.
That's a good point. It needs a new moveset. All right,
But
that's a good call out. Antax and Rashad are too similar. I
no,
mean,
no,
that's fair. But
those
like,
are
what do you
inverse
do?
of each other. Rashad is just a heavy
Yeah.
attack only. Antax is a light attack only. That's those things. Like those
Yeah.
are dumb simple weapons. I think they can stay that way.
Mhm.
I don't think I have any problem with there
Me too.
being like basic. Like those are weapons for very beginner players, and they scale very nicely as well. So you can play them all the way up to Doric and beyond.
When I say events are bugged, do you mean events are bugged every time? I mean events are bugged every time. They literally no longer spawn enemies properly, and
So-
they haven't for like a year.
Certain ones. Like there are certain events
Yes.
like the Hookaden shit in the
Yep,
the
that
carnival
one
map.
works
That one
pretty
works.
well.
It spawns ragers, spawns trappers and stuff. But yeah,
There's occasional
a lot of them
crushers,
are
but they're just
not
it's for the
spawning
most part
any elites at all.
it's just not spawning anything. Sometimes you get it, and sometimes it's so bad like it literally just spawns boxwalkers, and like that's all you see, and that's the end. Like the mission is won now. So it's pretty nasty. Like there should be like think about how you get waves of crushers and maulers and ragers and whatever in any other part of the map, and then you go into like power matrix midpoint, and you get a couple gunners and some boxwalkers and maybe a burster and a dog
Yeah.
and a trapper, and like that's it. That was your mid event.
And it's
It used to be that
forever.
the events had insane spawns,
It's
and the rest of the map
it's
had lower
interminable.
spawns. Yeah.
Yeah, the events were supposed to be the thing. You were supposed to get ready because you got the health kit, and you're like, "Oh shit, here it comes, guys! We need to get a good position, wait around." Now everyone just like runs around the arena for 4 minutes, and you're just like, "Okay." Like I don't think that
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've died in an actual event on Havoc or anything. It's always somewhere else.
Yeah, same. I can't. Nothing happens. Nothing ever happens at events. Okay, so we're solid on axes. We'll just mark that as solid. Solid. Good status. That's a good status. Auto guns. I think this is a place where we're going to have to talk.
Which ones? They're just all.
we can do the infantry auto guns first. So, what do you think about the infantry auto guns?
Man, it's a risky because like you make them much more powerful. What they do, they're already really high DPS weapons. They do very well on Auric difficulty. They have no relevancy into armor, but not every weapon should be good into armor. I think that like if they reduce the overwhelming saturation of Crusher spam and Bulwark spam, they have new life in their wings. So I'm fine with infantry autoguns. What is it? Obviously the Vrax is king. The Columnus is that one's pretty okay too. I don't have any problem with those. They're on
I think the infantry auto guns are probably in a solid place without being like too bad.
Yeah, they
or too
might
good.
need like a tiny little buff, like ammo capacity or something like that. Like that, something
you
like
could go
that.
after them
I
for
don't
that,
I don't
but
think I would
they
give
don't
them more
need it.
damage, but maybe ammo, just because they're kind of spam weapons.
So TAC Axe is really good, by the way. If you don't, I'm sorry, I'm talking to chat, but just TAC Axe is fine. Like, it's crazy. It turned out I was just bad at the game. It wasn't actually the TAC Axe is bad. It was me. So my opinion has shifted dramatically on the TAC Axes. They're crazy good. They're not the best possible weapons in the game, but they're really, really good.
They'll definitely be in the top rung of competitors if the Dueling Sword gets taken down. It's just the problem is that they just have a lot of overlap with the Dueling Sword in terms of the blessings and use cases right now.
The last part of the map, every map is the first 15-ish minutes. They need to take a look at peaking difficulty. Mr. KC is saying that we need to talk about difficulty padding. I think that's an interesting conversation, but it's not something I can schedule in for the conversation we're having today. I think you're right that it's important to talk about the curve of difficulty across the mission. So maybe we can talk about that another time, Or maybe we can have a more more.
It's kind of true,
concise
yeah. I
conversation
do get
later.
wiped in the first like 2 seconds of a mission, or it gets rolled over. I think that's generally
Yeah.
more of a discussion about the map seeding and how crazy variant difficulty can be in this game right now.
Yes.
Like you get a lucky seed, you walk through a Havoc 40 like nothing fucking happened. You're like I played a game yesterday on I mean it's Archive and Sycorax, but like players were like,
Yeah.
is Havoc 40? How come you're just like there's no enemies? I'm like, I don't fucking know. They're all asleep.
I mean, that's literally it, right? Like sometimes the game just doesn't spawn anything.
And I don't know
why
what that
happens.
is, if it's something that players are doing or if it's just like a seed problem. I think a
Yep.
lot of it is a seed
It's
issue
horrible.
because then you'll get a purple
think so.
mission and it's just like, okay, the first hallway has 17 Reapers in it. And you're like, okay, let's jump off this ledge and retry.
Yeah, the plague Ogryn got shut off the map. It was great. It was intentional too. We did it on purpose. I dragged him over there. Okay, so vigilant auto guns.
I'll leave them where they are, yeah.
I think
Just kidding.
I think they're fine. They're not bad at all. No, they're horrible. These things are awful and have been awful for like 2 years.
It's so funny because the Vigilant Autogun is a weapon that I talked to the same guy that I talked to before who was a tester. He was heavily involved in the testing and tweaking for the Vigilant Autoguns, and he asked me repeatedly what I thought about the Vigilant Autogun. They were created at a time where the game was going to be a more tactical shooting based thing where you thinking about how enemies used to act, right? They hid behind cover, they peek out, and you're supposed to like analyze your thing, and you only really pull out your melee like occasionally, and now it's just such a more of like a horde saturation. You have to be running in
Yes.
there, running and
It's a
gunning.
very different game.
So they were created for that space, and they have all of the like complex firing mechanics of like realistic guns where they have like there's no stability on them. They're like shooting in like these little burst patterns and stuff, but they have zero efficacy in the current state of the game, and they have also negative riz in terms of if guns can have riz, they would have negative riz because they have zero power fantasy. They sound like shit. They look like shit. And they are, yeah, horrible. I hate those things with a blinding passion. I was just playing to record for another video. I was just playing with a Vigilant Autogun like 3 games ago with an RBDs, and I was trying to shoot a sniper down the hallway of the train level, and I missed maybe 25 shots because it would not hold still on the target, and you can't fucking see. Great.
Why do we have the 3 different variations of assault rifle guns that each have their own 3 variations? Because you can claim you have more guns in your game if you make them all
true.
slightly different from each other, but
Big
they're all
true.
the same gun. That's the actual reason. But listen, the Vigilant autoguns could have been cool as sort of DMRs, but they have no optics. Their iron sights are ass. And, oh yeah, I should put that on there. Real optics irons. I guess their iron sights are the worst irons in the game, but they're like the Lucius Lasgun exists. But they have no maniac damage, so they should probably buff that, and they should probably give them some body shot damage a little bit, because like you could shoot a body for no damage, and you could shoot a head to kill like one shooter, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of work for minimal value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you agree with those changes at least? I mean, like I think
I'm
I'm
not
not trying to fix everything.
I'm
right?
not a I'm
trying
not
to
a
be comprehensive.
fine-tuned guy. I just look at a weapon and I from a bird's eye view, I look at this thing and I'm like, that's a piece of shit. That thing sucks at all possible aspects of existence. I mean, it looks like a sniper rifle, but everyone knows the sniper rifle is the revolver. So what is your purpose of existing? It could be a DMR, but it has zero impact. So like it's not staggering enemies. It's not accurate. It doesn't. I don't know what the fantasy is. If you deleted the Vigilant autoguns from the game, it wouldn't hurt the game. No one's using them, so whatever.
Sorry about that, chat. You're gonna get deafened slightly for in 1 second. There is a video, I think, that's in here. I don't know why. It's like some stupid Marvel video that popped into my thing, so I had to get it out of there.
Wait, hold on. Let me disconnect and reconnect. Your audio is doing a weird thing. Okay, that should be
problem.
good. Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, Discord after a while like twins up your audio, but it happens to everybody for me. Who knows?
Who knows? Is that working? Good. I think we're functional with no issues. So yeah, I think the weapons, the gun is forgettable. Yeah, the we can talk about trappers another time, my guys. I'm sorry I missed trappers, but they're
What's
the
wrong with
ability to shoot
trappers?
through objects bothers me. But We'll get there.
That's just the game.
They're in a spot where they're an enemy in the game, and they are one of the most dangerous. But they're also like you deal with them all game long at this point, and you just get used to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine.
Get over it. No.
The vigilant autoguns is the maddest you've ever been at hit ghost hits. Yeah, dude, they're horrible. Although if you've ever used like the normal las guns, they ghost hit all the time too. It's heinous. But yeah, ghost hits are disgusting. Okay, so last one on the list then is the auto pistol. Now, I'm gonna lead this one off because I think it's better than people give it credit for, but it's still the worst gun in the game. It is remarkably good into maniacs. Dreg Ragers, if you hold right click, I believe if you don't hold right click, it has more stagger.
Right.
If you hold right click, it has more suppression, which is fucking weird. But you can knock over groups of Dreg Ragers and kill many of them with the damage that you can get out of the gun.
Yeah, it takes like 2 bullets.
But then you
to knock
shoot
them down.
anything with flak, and nothing dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that they're like kind of close to being a thing. Like the buff that they threw at them a little while ago, where they buffed their damage by like 25%, their ammo by 25%. It's a good start, but every weapon needs something to give it a niche, and they just don't have that because, as you said, like you can't specialize in only killing one enemy type, and because they don't have that inherent accuracy that the infantry autoguns do, and they have the same ammo capacity and generally the same like blessings and firing patterns and stuff like that, you just go with infantry autogun because you can actually aim and shoot headshots. And the sprinting thing doesn't effectively do anything either, because that was the other buff they made it to, is you can sprint and shoot at the same time, but you can just slide and shoot, which is how you should be doing it anyway, because you can't get shot while you're sliding. So yeah, that effectively is a nothing buff. It would be really cool if there was some sort of effect that, you know, sprinting and shooting gave passively, but that might be getting a little bit too complex. But they just need some maybe like it's called the shredder pistol. Why can't it not, like, I don't know, brittleness or like inbuilt brittleness or something? It doesn't have to be like crazy good, but I'd love if it like even got through like the lightest of enemies. Yeah.
Could have like 1 million ammo. Yeah, that's
Or just a
an
lot of
option.
ammo.
I think
Yeah, that'd be good.
it has like no ammo economy, I'm gonna put this on the table. I think that rather than trying to make it super good as an actual gun, you make it more, you know what the Zerona revolver is for? Like in Oryx you're playing a different game, right?
Yeah.
In Oryx, the Zerona revolver is one of the best guns in the game because you whip it out and you can kill every specialist on the map, and then you can reload it once, 1 bullet, and then you can kill another specialist, and then you can go back to melee, right? It's like God's gift, the God Emperor's gift to Zealot, right?
Yep.
For that reason. And the Shredder auto pistol has instant quick draw and is actually pretty decent at that same job of killing trappers.
Yeah, staggers
if
trappers
they're
out of the
within
animation, but you'll miss them
exactly.
if they're more than like a foot away.
Yeah, exactly. It has no range. So I've kind of been thinking that the best way to deal with it is, what if you just gave them enough range to actually shoot things that are farther away?
Yeah, range would be nice, and I think just ammo pool. I think for a lot of weapons, especially like the lower performing weapons, just ammo pool would be a big thing that I would change, because, like, you know, there's inbuilt waste with using the shredder pistol. You are going to miss bullets, and your bullets aren't going to hit in weak spots, so you're not getting effective use out of the ammo that you're firing. If the pool was bigger, I would feel better about using it, because, like, yeah, per bullet, I would not be having such a huge, like, loss. Not that ammo is a huge consideration in many difficulties outside of Havoc, but hey, like, at least you're not going to run around stealing everyone's ammo. It's
I've managed to run out of ammo multiple times with it on Oryx, so I mean, it's LOL.
I mean, that weapon definitely will run out of ammo, but, like, for a lot of weapons, like, that's not a realistic thing to do.
It's not like a big thing.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Like, you wouldn't run out of ammo on any of the new shotguns with 100 shots in them, because you'd actually hit a target with 1 shot and they'd probably die. This gun, you're going to fire a full mag and it's going to kill like 1.5 enemies, and then you're going to reload. And
that's literally right. It kills like 1.5 enemies. I cleared a Havoc 40 with it, and it was the worst thing I have ever used.
The amount of times you'll need to spray down an enemy. You'll spray down one enemy. You'll spray the second enemy. You'll be 2 shotgunners, like a gunner and a shotgunner, and you'll spray the gunner down and you'll kill him, and then you'll turn to the shotgunner and he'll be at like 25% HP, and you'll have to reload, and you're like, oh, fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we could do more ammo, more range. We could even look at maybe
As a
cleave, but I
third
don't know if it
weapon.
needs it.
Someone said that everyone should just have a holdout weapon that's as shitty as a auto pistol.
As the auto
If
pistol.
you
Honestly, based, I
if you
genuinely
run out
think
of
that.
weapons or like just everything else, you have that like as an infinite ammo, like a backup, like on like Doom or
I
whatever.
really think that I've been proposing this for years, and it's never going to happen. This is how much influence I have, by the way. I've been saying that Vet should get a pistol option in his slots. He should get a melee weapon, a pistol slot, and a main weapon slot. That way, he can just select pistol.
Nice. Yeah,
It'd be sick.
it would be kind of
It
sick.
will never happen.
You don't know.
Also, where's my dual wielding in my 40k game? I'm crying here.
I think it's just too heroic. Every time people bring this up, I think it's counter the fantasy that they're going for, which is we are scrappy fighters. Like we cannot dual wield anything because it makes us heroes. Only heroes dual wield, and we are
I see.
Plebs.
We're not heroes, we're scum.
yeah.
I got it.
I think that was I forget who explained that to me, but that was sort of the. And then that makes sense to me, right? Like you know, a zealot who's like fighting for their life is using like one sword and like blocking with it like normal, not dual wielding and fucking like running in there, like.
You're fine with the range being the trade-off. I mean, that's fair. You said that. Yeah. Okay. So, let's talk bolt guns.
Okay.
Is there anything about the bolt gun or bolt pistol that needs to be changed? Because personally, I'm just going to throw this on the table. I think they're exactly fine.
Yeah.
They're some of the most powerful weapons in the game. They also run out of ammo, and they you can't. They have some accuracy issues. I wish they could fix the recoil issue they have, but like leaving that aside, like they're fine. I think they're fine.
Yeah, I honestly really like where they're at because like the bolter is a very powerful weapon, but it's like ammo constrained. It's definitely like one of the weapons that is powerful and the ammo is like the downside versus the plasma gun, which is powerful and has infinite ammo, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of like, I haven't played with the bolt pistol the most in the world, but I kind of really like where it's at. I used to kind of hate on it, but low key, but yeah, it's pretty solid, honestly. And yeah, I don't have any problem with the bolter because again, it can be powerful, but you only get, let's see, it's 15 rounds in the mag and you get 100 in the backup. So that's like, what, like 9 mags total? And
Yep.
it's pretty easy to go through it. But it's nice to have in a pinch. And it's got a lot of use cases too, which is always nice. It's either you can not use it and only use it for bossing, or you can have it be like your primary sniping weapon if you really want. So good.
Yeah, I just
good
think
weapon.
I just think it's in such a good place. I don't really need to do anything with it personally. I think, and
Yeah, I think
You know,
I think that's
I
I would say the bolter is like the relic blade of ranged for me. It's like it's a weapon that feels good. It fits the fantasy, and it's in a good power ranking where it can deal with big threats, but it doesn't fucking blow them away, and it comes at a cost.
Yep, it does. All right, make dumping a bolter into a horde is a 10-10 dark tide. Yeah, it is. It's one of the best.
Yeah,
things
it's
in the game. Like,
don't touch the bolter. Like, you fucking you're pissing people off enough with the plasma gun.
Yep.
But
oh, I don't think I have plasma gun on here for some reason. We should talk about
That
that
is
at some point. I guess we don't even have to because it's like we know what we want to do with the plasma gun, which is kind of
yeah, just let them do their thing.
we both. Yeah, I think they're doing fine
should
on the
do my
plasma gun.
stuff.
Like, honestly, I think they're fine. Okay, let's. I think we missed two of the braced autoguns. What do we think of the braced? Is there anything you want to call on the braced?
I want the braced autoguns to have more accuracy, like a lot more accuracy, and have more movement speed when they're braced. I don't think it makes any sense to have these things lower you to 10% of your movement speed for as little accuracy as well. There's one of them that gives a pretty decent amount of accuracy, but the other two are like all over the fucking place, and they also don't have any like headshot modifiers. So like they're pretty okay outside of that. But yeah, I think that the brace penalty is like it's too much for how little benefit it really gives. Half the time I just end up walking around and left clicking and not even.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I will say that my favorite one is the Graya because it gives you more fire speed when you brace it, and that's hilarious.
Graya is my second favorite one. I like the Brax the most for some reason. I don't know why.
So you could just like a bad gun sometimes, and it just works.
They're all kind of bad, but yeah.
They're fine. They're fine. Just make them all. I don't think so either, Hat Stealer. I think that the goal would be to improve it somewhat. Currently, even if you tap fire them, they just don't go any. Like, you can barely hit anything from, like, more than 20 meters. And I just don't know that works. Like, you don't need 2 melee weapons, and they're basically a second melee weapon, in part. Except for the Agrippina, which has enough range to, like, do its job. But, like... No bracing. Yeah. Where's my pistol brace on my autogun, huh? And you strap this to my arm. Okay, so, fixes... more ammo. My chat has had only a few minutes to vote, so chat, vote, vote, vote. There's a few minutes to change my mind, but we've got more ammo as the... Or, I'm sorry, not more accuracy. More accuracy as the suggested on brace, right? On brace was your contention?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, okay.
I mean, generally, like, I think they're fine, like, because it's supposed to be, like, a kind of low, medium range
do they have
spray
bad
and pray.
mobility? They maybe fix their mobility, too.
It'd be nice if they had,
mobility.
like good mobility stats for, like, running around, because they are supposed to be, like, a spray and pray, and the infantry autoguns fucking gap them. Infantry autoguns, you get the ninja move set with, like, 0.74 move speed. It's crazy. Sprinting around.
Yeah, I think it's a real problem. I think it's a real problem that a lot of the guns, we're gonna get to this infantry auto guns, but a lot of the guns that are like infantry for like just dudes running around have just horrendous like stamina.
That seems to be a thing that they're looking into changing, though, with the way that they changed the shotguns. They have crazy low stamina consumption now, so it'd be cool if like more run and gun play styles were emphasized like that, with making, because they have like those ones have 0.5 the same stamina consumption as Dueling Sword does now, which is very nice.
Yeah, I think they're assault weapons now is what they got, which is like, of course they are. They should be. It's the word itself is the correct thing for them. It's like designed for it. So yeah, it's good. I think it's nice. I want Brace to be LMG fantasy? No, they need to give us actual heavy stubbers.
Yeah,
veteran
real fucking actual LMGs, please.
Give me LMGs.
We can still have
AKs.
space AK, but let's get space like saws in here. MG249s.
They make that heavy stubber, handheld heavy stubber is a thing. We can fix it. We can save gaming. We can save gaming.
Because like right now there's this big gap between like infantry weapons and then the bolter in terms of like heavy weapons. So clearly we can wield the bolter. Where's the fucking like Daka for everybody that's not Ogryn, and also make the Ogryn's weapon not suck. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, chain weapons. I am going to do a whole big video about this, and it, just so you know, like this is my specialty. I know the chain weapons
Don't leave it
better than probably anybody. I have made the 1 hour videos on space chain weapons. So here's what I'm gonna do this real quick, and we're gonna move on because I will, unless you have some specific thing you want to address, and you're welcome to. You're invited.
No,
but
I don't think so.
Aside from the fact that eviscerators are too small, they don't do enough damage or stagger on the shreds, and they also now have bugs with their shred latches. They don't hit the right things, so that should be fixed. I don't think they quite do enough damage, and I'd rather they swing slower and do more damage than swing as fast as they do. Actually, I think they're going the wrong way.
I think that in just a little that I played with them, I think that the trade-off for the activated weapon special is just too high. Like, make the base damage better, or like make the activated ability like not as jank as it is. I don't know if that's possible for them. But yeah, like relic blades just kind of relic blades are just kind of gapping eviscerators. Like relic blades are what eviscerator wants to be, and so it needs to have its own use case. Maybe eviscerator is the single target DPS foil to the relic blade, where like it does okay against hordes, but it really, like, you sink that thing into a boss. I would love if they redid the way that the chain mechanic worked, and it was like just hold it, and the longer you can hold it on the boss, like you'll actually do good DPS, but you need to be like aware, like you are latched, like you need to a second to pull away and get yourself out of danger.
I agree with that. Actually, so I had an idea once upon a time for like an actual eviscerator that was the correct length and girth, and that was the mechanic. It's like you rev the overhead and you hit the boss, and like it just keeps going.
Yeah,
you could just keep sawing. You don't have to stop until you're done.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. Like that, I think that's honestly how like all of them should work, because it really sucks playing with like the chain, like the little dinky chain sword. You latch into a crusher, and then you have to hit him like 3 more times with the latch attack to get him to die. And you're like, what's the fucking point? I'll just pull out my gun and blow him away.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I mean, I have no problem running rev sequentially, but it's like, I don't know if you just saw that, but I just killed the crusher on screen, and yeah, I did an FOTF charge rev attack, and it didn't die on a crusher, and I'm like, okay, well, we have a problem, because it used to, and maybe that's just Havoc breakpoints, but I don't think something that like causes me to sit on a target and use my ability should not be able to kill one crusher.
Yeah,
right? Like it has to be better than that.
These,
and I love the weapon. I know the ins and outs of these attacks, but that's just not good.
These the problem, and I've always said this about the DARKTIDE design in like the 1.0 version of the game, is that they really overestimated the power that these activated weapon things would have, except in the case of the power sword. And so like every weapon that has a special activated ability just sucks dick, because they nerf their base stats to like Kingdom Come, and then they just, but they don't realize like you have to choose. Do you use the weapon special, or do you use your regular attacks? Like you can't use both at the same time. So it doesn't inherently improve the power of the weapon. They should both be, powerful.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think there's ways to make them good, and there is some jank that I'm willing to tolerate and always have been, because the cinema of using it is correct, and there's a skill curve around it which you can learn, and that's actually fun for me as well. I think it's fun that they're high skill weapons. They have high skill ceilings, but they should have better performance on the skill floor. Right now, the skill floor performance is like so abysmal because they're like normal attacks are bad. Often they sound horrible. And so on. So there's like all sorts of ways that you could make these better, and I'm going to make a whole video about how to do it, because I probably need to again. It's about time somebody touched on these. Mm-hmm. The only ones that are good right now, the eviscerators aren't bad. They're usable. They're usable even into Havoc. But I think the Mark IV chain axe is probably one of the best. And it works. It is amazing, but it does fall off into Havocs, which is fine with me. Even though it's my favorite weapon, I still use it. It's fine. But the chain swords are horrible. The base chain swords, they just need a lot. So
yeah, they end up like piddly fuck for damage. They have no impact. About the only thing they got is they got a good attack speed, but that doesn't matter for anything when you can't stagger enemies or hurt them.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, we can go into that maybe another day after I get my video out. Let's talk combat blades.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played with the Catachin sword since it got buffed, so anybody
knows
the
sword
the Catachin
or the dagger?
sword is good? The Catachin sword. The Devil Claw sword.
Devil Claw. Those are okay. I tried some out on a couple of Oryx just when I was making the melee tier lists, and like one of them, the Mark 1, is like only suitable for like you literally can't kill a Crusher at all with it. Like it'll take you like all day. But it's okay, the weapons like that exist in the game. I don't know. They have, again, it's another one of those things where, like, I think for my personal taste, and I might just be a power creep fanatic, but I think for my personal taste, there's probably a little bit too much power that's being taken out of the actual like weapon itself in order to give it to the parry thing. And so, like, most players who are going to be using this are probably not parrying with all that much, like, skill. So, I think they could use, like, a little bit more power in the base weapon, but I am by no means an authority on these things.
I'm getting successful. They're fine from my chat. They're fine to good to my chat.
7 and 4 are fine. 1 is like the one that I was really struggling to use with any effect. But yeah, they're like fine. If we're balancing around Auric Maelstrom, they're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
How about the knives? The combat knives.
definitely fine. I don't think that they're nerf worthy or anything.
I would just leave them alone as well.
Yeah,
at
I
this
leave them
point.
alone. They're fun.
I think they got power creps. They used to be crazy, too good, but now they're just
Yeah, like they're
fine.
single target. That you can do some damage against hordes with like bleeds and stuff. But I think they've got a nice little niche in being nice mobility weapons. I like that they've got that 20% move speed. You know, sliding around and stuff is always fun. So
Yeah, I mean, if you take out the speedrunning component of their kit, I don't think they're crazy anymore.
yeah,
think they're
I
probably
wouldn't take out the speedrunning thing. I think that's like part of the fantasy is like giving that knife like thrust and then the little slide and get up underneath the enemy, stab them a couple times.
I agree. I don't think you can kill. I don't think the way to solve for speedrunning is to kill the game's mobility field, and I don't think speedrunning is.
I don't think speedrunning is an issue at
Yes.
all. I literally don't think I.
It
Doesn't
used to
happen.
be a thing where people would ruin other people's games with it, but I don't see that much anymore.
This player's
People
all
don't complain
fucking
about that much
fucked
online
up.
anymore. It's pretty much because people just go solo now, and
Yep.
the solo mod exists, and so it's not a problem.
I think
Not
those
a- not a
players
huge
either
one.
stopped playing a long time ago or they play solo. Yeah, it's like
Yep. I'm gonna speak authoritatively here, chat. The Turtulski heavy swords are good.
yeah,
They don't need anything.
probably not. I would like if they had like at least one move that's like actually counter armor. Because they're that, but that's might just be being like hopeful because they're that close to being like a actually kind of like pretty meta weapon, especially a 7 and 6.
They are. Here's the thing: they suffer into armor a little bit, but they don't have a. They're not
They're-
absolutely abysmal.
Their damage isn't low, that's for sure. I mean, especially if you're running their Zealot specialist like specialized weapons. You know, you use it on Zealot
They're
with
amazing at
FOTF
that.
and
You should try it
crush.
sometime. Just,
I haven't tried
just
it,
run it
man.
into that and see how much it frees up your action economy for dealing with the game.
Why? Because it just
Like, you
cleaves
just-
so much.
Yeah, you can just cut through an entire horde. You can cut through rager. You can finally fight ragers on vet pretty effectively from safety and like kill bunches of them. Not like all the time. They have good mobility. They just feel really strong. Like they're so good. And then the only thing you can't do with them is really like kill large groups of crushers and maulers. Though you can kill them. You can kill a couple of them.
Yeah.
And so you just need to have a weapon that can deal with that problem in your kit. It doesn't have to deal with, or a teammate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're good. They're very good.
Yeah, I'm
Give the
fine.
heavy swords a one-shotting of unit out of 10. Yeah, they also have insane maniac damage. So.
Yeah, their maniac is kind of nuts, and they have like what 25 cleave on the heavy sweep or something like that. It's kind of nuts.
They're nutty, and they are. And then you can get death blow on them, which is basically brutal momentum. So, yeah, it's good. Just joining now, I discussed the effect of running inheritance on balance. I have not discussed that subject. I think it exceeds our capacity.
I run
Excuse me, it
death
exceeds
blow
our-
and thrust only.
Oh, you should
Heavy
try
sword.
head taker death blow. That's
Wait,
the
head taker
way.
is the strength one, right?
Yeah, you get plus strength, so you get plus cleave, plus damage,
Okay.
and
I mean, it-
stagger, and then you run death blow, and you get a couple head stagger stacks, and just about everything starts dying in one hit
Yeah.
on headshot, and then from that point on, you're cleaving everything.
I guess that checks out. Yeah. Probably about the same
There-
impact rather than front loading your damage. You just get more consistent.
Yeah. Well, you have to think about as well, like you don't have to hold. You can just like swing into a couple of runners, like with some lights or whatever, quick and build it. Like you can build all stacks into a horde instantly with one kill, and so it goes crazy. And I think it's fine that they're not the best into armor because there are other options.
I mean, not every weapon has to be good into armor, because like teammates exist. I think that's the thing that's oft overlooked in balance discussions is like it should not be a one man Swiss Army knife who just like kills all sorts of enemies with every kit. Like you can have a weakness.
Okay, I agree with that fundamentally. So I think we're on the same page. Let's talk dueling swords, the obvious outlier. I know there's one of them that's not as strong.
5, yeah.
Yeah, it's the 5. Is that the one? I don't remember. I haven't used them all that
Yeah,
much.
so-
I use the dueling sword 4 from time to time because it's the best one,
Yep.
and I just go, okay, I'm doing the dueling sword today, and then I go. That wasn't that fun, and I put it away.
4 and 2 are more or less identical. 2 has the it goes thrust and then sweep from like just horizontal sweep, and that's it for the heavy attacks. And then 5 has weird like flourishing overheads as the heavy attacks. So it kind of loses out on the potential that you get from, you know, those direct delivered pointy stabs. But they're all in need of power tuned down. 5 less so, which if we're judging by their little design documents, they definitely are aware of. But like 4 and 2, too much front-loaded power on the thrust, and obviously Uncanny is doing insane bad things here. It's just invalidating armor entirely, and it negates having to play the game. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with seeing them getting taken down. I really, really liked what I saw in the quote-unquote leaked documents or whatever that was. Because I don't know if you saw that, but like they are making the weapon special, instead of being a like extra high stagger, high impact like mini thrust, it is a riposte ability, and they're taking some power away from the initial thrust, so you can't just like one-shot everything right off the bat anymore with no interactivity, and they're making the riposte attack the equivalent power of one of those pre-nerf thrusts.
I think that sounds awesome. I think that would be. I think that's a good idea. Like, these sticks get yeah, I think it's a good way to do it. I think obviously we have to look at Uncanny, and so maybe I'll just make a special note on that, which is like fixes, rework proposal is well liked. Nerf Uncanny Strike, and that'll do it. How about, yeah?
Probably, yeah. I think that's about the only thing that's really crazy on the weapon. Yeah, if you take away Uncanny, like, their overwhelming damage doesn't become that big a deal, because yeah, it's the fact that they can just poke everything, including crushers. It's just makes them
They have
so
one of the fastest
well-rounded.
DKs into crushers in the game, and it's
Yep.
just like it literally.
And the crusher
is
has
a
zero counterplay against it as well, because he's staggered
Yeah.
after the weapon special. So fun,
Yeah, you poke him in the face. You can even poke charging meteors in the face. Which is
so
disturbing to me.
fun.
I mean, it feels cool when you do it, but it also is just like, why does this enemy exist if I can turn it off with this button?
Turn everything off.
There's not much to say about the cleavers. Probably cleavers are fine. We just gotta deal with Confident Strike, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fine with leaving cleavers. Honestly, most Ogryn weapons are probably okay as is, except for the the Mark III Bullet Club is too high. But I think that might be an operation of Skull Crusher more than the weapons base stuff, although it is kind of an outlier in terms of its weapon family as well. But cleavers are fine.
Yeah. Power Maul's on here, don't you worry. We're gonna talk Power Maul. Skill-based interactions in melee combat. Yeah, I agree. More skill-based interactions in melee combat would be nice. There just needs to be a little bit more, and there needs to be a little less on screen for that to exist. That's why the first thing I said was like,
Yeah.
no,
You can't
Okay,
skill-based
and then we
enemies
talked
when
about it,
there's
like,
20 of them.
yeah, what are you gonna do? You can't just interact. Was it high value based? I don't know. If it's still too high, that needs to be addressed. But I have not seen these changes. I don't know what they look like beyond what was in the notes. So if the goal is to not trivialize crushers with this weapon, how's that? There you go. That's what I'll say. Goal is to not trivialize crushers with this weapon. That'll be the feedback. Okay.
It's Risk of Rain 2,
Yeah, you're right. The Mark 6 cleaver needs that. Mark MK6 cleaver needs easier access to the overhead, or it will always be bad.
Is that the serrated one?
No, that's the one that looks like a tiny pirate sword.
Okay, yeah, alright.
It has like the belly-shaped blade.
Oh, gotcha. I thought that was the 3. I don't know. Fucking hell.
There you go. I spelled it 3 different ways for you, Casey. Okay, so other than that, I think the cleavers are fine. Do you agree? You good?
Mm-hmm.
Fully club. I mean, I feel like the answer is Nerf Confidence Strike, please.
Confidence Strike
there anything else that needs to be done?
is big. Skull Crusher probably is just...
Yeah.
Skull Crusher is just too powerful on anything it's on. The 3 is too fast, if we're being honest. Like, it has crazy attack speed, crazy simple pattern, and its light attacks have 20 stagger, and the other weapons' light attacks only have 10 for some reason. And the Mark II here is terrible. I don't know what the deal is with it. It's like the Atlas of bully clubs. It just doesn't have any. It doesn't have any avenue covered. It's like you go heavy attacks with Mark 1, you go light attacks with the Mark 3. I don't know what its niche remains to be here.
Alright, if anybody knows what to do with the Mark II, let me know. I'll just say it needs something for now. But I think I agree with that assessment. Mark 1 is okay, the Mark 3 is obviously the best, and then why does the Mark II exist? Seems to jump out at me. No nerf on Skull Cluster. Why not? It's 80% damage to target hit by all weapons by anyone else, as long as that target is currently staggered, and there's a ton of staggered.
I suppose you could not nerf it, and then, and then, yeah, just up boss's health by 50%.
Ogryn can use piano weapon. I don't know what that means.
Piano weapon.
I think it should be. I think Skull Crusher and Confidence Strike should both be taken down by half, and I'm not.
Or just Skull Crusher.
50% nerf man.
Skull Crusher just applying what it reads on the label of just 40% increased damage taken, rather than just you being able to stack multiple times. It would still be insane at 40%.
It would still.
You would still.
So
It'd still be really
strong.
good. Yeah, there you go. Mix Scratch says it would still be an insta lock. Yeah, you would absolutely still choose it. It's 40% increased damage on a class that's, you know, is gonna be able to stagger. You're fine.
No, Man in Life, Skull Crusher has always been strong. The problem was running it on anything on Ogryn before was kind of a pain.
Yeah, because
so
those
nobody
weapons
bothered.
sucked, and it was Ogryn. And then on other classes, it was available on the Shock Maul and
the Crusher.
and the
Crusher.
Crusher. Yeah, and that's it, I think.
Yeah, that was it. And also, those classes couldn't stagger bosses.
Yeah.
And so you had to have an Ogryn around to charge the boss.
Yeah.
In order to set this all up, and so it only happened in really high
Yeah.
like 4
And
teams.
then Havoc
But now it's
made
ubiquitous.
people. Chorus is crazy synergistic with it because Chorus can perma stagger bosses for a long time, and now like every team is using it. I mean, that's like the #1 synergy you can run with RBD's Ogryn.
It's highly accessible. Whereas
Donks.
before yeah, it just wasn't around before, and now that it's highly accessible, it's obvious how much of a problem it actually is when you can trigger it, which is easy. And it's still going to be huge at 40%. Like
Sorry, it's on. It's also. I knew it was on another weapon. It's on Devil's Claw swords too. But the only way you're staggering anything is by hitting riposte there. So.
You haven't played RBDs yet? Oh, Concussive allows you to stagger.
Yep.
To de facto stagger enemies without staggering them.
Which-
and then all you have to do is get a source of stagger after you've applied, which gives you time to do it.
Which is
so it's actually
insane.
a little better on RBDs. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because like it forces the stagger state for the duration versus prior.
Never has it, but you're never going to take that. You need thrust and head taker, or else you're throwing. Yeah, Skull Crusher shouldn't buff range damage. That's a reasonable take, but I think at 40% it's not going to be that big of a deal, and it's okay if it's
Probably not. I mean, think about it. Like for most enemies, like the 99% enemies are just gonna fall over in the first couple seconds, so they're not even a problem. It's only on bosses and like crushers you really even feel the difference in DPS.
Yeah, exactly.
Like high health pool targets, eat it. But that's what it's for. It can be for that.
Yep. All right, so next up, grenade stuff.
Grenade what?
Grenade stuff. There's two.
Oh.
There's Grenadier Gauntlet and Rumbler.
Rumbler down. Grenade Gauntlet up. Thanks, Brookie. Oh, that's a good person to get the buff. Oh god, he's gonna kill me!
Okay, so we're gonna say Rumbler down.
I am
or
not,
Rumbler
Dingus.
up.
Yeah, Rumbler. I don't know exactly what to do about it. It's just like maybe the radius is way too big, and just damage too big. A lot of issues there, I think.
Oh, I do have a note on the Grenadier Gauntlet real quick. Make a shield and gauntlet version. They need to be. We got the shot pistol and shield. We can have the grenade, the gauntlet and shield. It's literally a tabletop model. Please send.
Yeah,
so
the grenade gauntlet sucks. I don't like it. So.
It's okay. It's fine as a weapon. I don't know if it needs buffs or not.
Oh wait, first of all, it needs a tracer line. Can we put that in? Put a fucking tracer to show where you're actually aiming with the thing. Because the Rumbler gets that for some godforsaken reason, but that thing doesn't. And you can't figure out where you're actually going because that is an arc. Every weapon that shoots an arc should have a tracer. It's not fair to not have it.
I'm fine with that. And let's do bullet. Take that. Fixes.
And a little more damage. Thank you again, rookie. Oh, Genghis got it.
It needs more damage. I don't know if it needs more damage. Otherwise, it's fine. I think it does enough damage. I mean, it's fine.
I guess with certain blessings on there.
Yeah, you gotta have the right blessings.
You gotta have the not penny fire. What's it called?
Game, so. Doesn't affect the release currently, but in the future, when Skull Crusher does combine. So Combine says that Skull Crusher is not affecting regular elites currently.
Really?
But in the future, with higher HP enemies, all of a sudden they live long after Skull Crusher. Oh, okay. What he means is it's not relevant.
Oh, right. That makes sense because like most, yeah, like an elite enemy, like a gunner or something, dies to 2 melee attacks from the Ogryn, so you don't have to worry about it.
First one,
yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. Is like, yeah, it's not a big deal because like those enemies aren't being murdered by the Skull Crusher. It's Reapers, it's Bulwarks, it's like, yeah, it's, you know, extra impactful on the Ogryn because it buffs his bleed damage too. So it makes all those targets bleed out in like 2 seconds.
Singular.
I use the melee with the grenade gauntlet when my weapon swap input doesn't register. It's a good take. You should get the mod guarantee weapon swap if you are a PC player. That mod is fucking... I have no idea why that was a bug that they patched out of Vermintide 2. Or it's not a bug, it's an intentional feature, and it annoys the shit out of people, and I have no idea why they think that players want it defaulted to prioritize shooting over swapping. Like, I didn't accidentally press the swap key, Fat Shark. I know what I meant to do.
Yes.
I was trying to swap weapons. I was trying to use my ultimate. I don't want to cancel it to throw it on attack randomly.
Here's my throwing knife, thanks, if you don't mind. I needed 3 more of these going out. That kills me when that happens.
Yep.
Okay, so... Do not buff PP. Okay, so Rumbler. Here's what I want to nerf on Rumbler, and I realize that it might not be enough. But we start here and we work our way backwards, because the Rumbler used to be a weapon that people didn't even think was good, and I always knew was pretty good, and now it's disgusting, okay? So, I think the correct plan is to nerf the outer radius stagger until it only stops chaff mobs, okay? Then, that means Ragers, Maulers, Gunners, Crushers within the exterior radius. This is the 15-meter radius that it currently has. We're not changing the damage, just the radius of just the damage, or just the stagger power. Just the stagger power, not damage, nothing else. That allows everything but hordes to move in on you while you're blasting away with your Rumbler. Then the inner radius can no longer stagger Mauls and Crushers specifically. So this is a much smaller radius. I think it's like 6 meters. It might even be 5. And that would allow you to stagger most things within very local radius to your weapon. But Crushers and Maulers would still be able to pursue you with my new adjusted Rumbler concept. And then the last thing is, if you hit a direct hit stagger, explosion, and it explodes on that target, then that singular Crusher or Mauler or whatever is staggered.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I might be able to move that over. I know you guys can't read it all, but I just read it to you instead. There you go. That's what I want. So, I got you guys on that. My goal would be to not overdo it. This is a really cool weapon, it's really fun, and people like it, and I'm not trying to take toys away from anybody, but I think that this is sufficient to be a nerf to the thing that's making the game unfun, which is, like, the thing that we can't have in a weapon is that it's not fun to play next to.
Yeah, it just
Like,
staggers
for as much as
everything. They don't
RPGs
get to
is,
play.
like, yeah, exactly. Like, it just turns off the game. Why are we here? Like, I want to play a video game. I don't want to have someone else play my video game for me. That's a movie. I am not interested in a movie. I could have watched one. So that's my concept for that. I think it'll work. And if I'm wrong, we'll adjust.
Yeah, I don't really have any problem with like it continuing to do the damage it does. It's the fact that it just, again, it's another one of those things that puts the game on pause in that way. And yeah, so there's just no, like, I don't even have to think about my positioning with it because I just shoot it at my feet and I'm like, okay, well, for the next 3 seconds, nothing is going to be able to attack me because it's all staggered. It would be nice to have to still worry about, like, oh yeah, overheads and stuff and crushers.
10 to 30 suppression AoE at base. Wait, hold on. I've got Combine telling me numbers. Let me look at this real quick. At base, I'm looking at a right damage part of the Rumbler is 8 to 12 outer, depending on stat rolls. I think it has a 15 meter, but I might be wrong, Combine. I mean, I could be wrong about this. You have the thing in front of you. Close is 1.5 to 3 meters. 10 to 30 suppression AoE. Should we nerf the suppression AoE too, gentlemen? That's the thing that makes enemies go, don't shoot me!
Ranged enemies.
Let's look at suppression power. There, how's that? Use barrels, true.
Beep at it.
Okay, we've got heavy stubbers next. This is Ogryn stuff. The single stubbers are good. Does anybody disagree with me? The single stubbers aren't in a good place?
The single servers are in a good place, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to? Does anybody have any ideas what we should do with the double stubbers, the twin linked stubbers?
A higher damage on just that they have terrible like damage per ammo utilized is the problem. Like you'll end up using to do the same amount of damage as any other class, you'll use twice the ammo, or at least 1.5 times the ammo. It's pretty bad.
I have said that these are melee weapons with long arms, and make Gunlugger ult good. Yeah, well, we talked about that one already. So PvP is on the needs help. Sound rework, true. Sound improvements. I'll just type that in. I agree with you. I think per shot damage is too low. It's basically like confetti. Some of them do like 12 damage per hit. It's insane. It's like, what are we doing here? This isn't even a weapon. Tighter spread when braced. How about less weapon? How about less fall off? I don't know how their fall off is, but I'm guessing that the fall off is bad. Got it. There's a talent for that. Got it. Combine. The double stubbers need more of a niche with suppression. More suppression. Do they have bad suppression?
They just don't really have much of anything. They also have really poor accuracy, I feel like.
Yeah, we
but,
said tighter spread when braced.
Yeah, tighter spread. Yeah, tighter spread. Brace speed should be higher as well. This is an Ogryn we're talking about as well. I hate these low brace speeds. I hate pigeonholing it into. Clearly, it was designed with point blank barrage in mind. You know, I don't want it to be like, oh, we only can use point blank barrage with it. It would be nice if it was a stable firearm for like using with like getting rid of chaff enemies, and then you'd have your like sniper rifles for the single shot ones. And those would be for single enemies.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once. So
that's okay.
Someone said that needs more ammo. I'm going to propose that since we're buffing the damage per shot, that we don't need more ammo because you will need to spend less to achieve the same thing. Like, yeah. Special shot? Yeah, I don't know. Slam procs and ring run this fun, which means we can keep concentrate up for a long time, which makes them feel better. Interesting. Oh, firing delay. Remove weird firing delay, please.
Which one?
The heavier one. Like, I think it's the Gorgonum.
Yeah,
it has like you brace it, and you go to fire, and it doesn't want to.
I just wish all the brace weapons, including the Ripper guns, just had a faster time to brace. I feel like that's such a annoying part of using them. Is like folding out this silly handle thing.
Yeah, okay. Just speed that up.
It's like
That's
every
fine.
other class, every other weapon in the game. You just aim on the sights instantly. It's like these ones,
Yep.
you don't even get that much benefit out of it, if
The
anything.
game moves
And it's
faster
like
than it was designed for
Yeah.
in the olden days, and like that's okay.
that was something
But
for
we have
like
to
a
adapt some of the stuff.
Ubisoft tutorial where you walk in and you're like, chick, boom, boom, boom. Like that's what it was designed to look like. But like we want to be able to pull that thing out and just blast, like, and move, keep moving.
Yeah, it's cool that it's there, but I need to be fast enough that I can use this thing, right?
Inverse
Up to down,
recoil,
50
someone
footsteps
said
by
on
50,
the
yeah.
double stubbers, like where you keep firing and they get tighter in accuracy. That'd be kind of cool. It's like a Hyperion gun from Borderlands 2.
Okay, so I'm. Does anybody disagree with this list? Did I miss anything important? Please advise. We've been at this almost for 4 hours, so
Yeah.
we need to cruise through some of this stuff.
How much is left? Because I think I might have to go right now, but I trust you to handle the rest of it. I don't think I have too much revolutionary input.
Right, and no problem. I know we took a long time, so I
It's okay.
apologize for
I
that.
fully
It was really-
understood that it was
no,
going to be a long discussion, given the topic was balance of Darktide.
Yes, I know. I tried to.
That was
make
the name
sure
of
we
the
didn't
symposium.
hit too many thorny problems at the same time.
Like, weapon stuff is your specialty, nitty gritty, like details on weapons. I think we hit all the things I really wanted to cover, which is like the high and low notes of like balancing between classes and weapons and things. That's what I'm mainly concerned with in the game. Is like, yes, we can't have these like huge overperformers that are making that balance equation impossible to solve. Because you can't average when you have outliers in the mix. Like your average will always be completely fucked. So as long as they can like understand, at least as long as they're seeing those things we highlighted as like these things are way too low, these things are way too high, that will make me happy. I think that they have a good number of those like pinned already based on what we've been seeing. But I hope that they're continuing to look, and I hope they're not scared to nerf, because it's long overdue, right? We can't just only have
It is.
like, we can't only have buffs. I know a lot of people will say like only buff, but like there are things that have gotten too crazy, and like a lot of it happened in the distant past at this point. Like many players couldn't point back at what happened to Dueling Sword, but I can point back at like patch I think 15 where they just doubled all the stats about it. They doubled the finesse multiplier and the damage at the same time, and like that's absurd by today's standards. If you show players that and be like, okay, obviously this is why this needs a nerf, it was literally doubled in every aspect with that on a whim. Like
On a whim.
yeah,
Oh, this is
just
too
to
weak,
see if
let's
it
just
just to
double
see if it
everything. It's like,
works, and then
yeah,
printed
and
to
you
every
can't
class.
do that, because then there's a class of players that never want to see it nerfed ever, right?
Yeah, and like that's
And look, I
fine.
don't think everything. I think we've pretty clear that neither of us want to see everything nerfed.
Well, we both,
we've been-
to initialize this conversation, we both settled on having the general power level be just below current plasma gun. So like,
Yep.
that seems pretty damn high to me. Doesn't mean there's not weapons that are going to be below that, but like that would be a good place to shoot for. If every weapon was the relic blade, we'd be cooking. Like that's a very solid weapon.
I think I feel like we can land around that area without ruining the game, you know, and maybe I do think weapons need to be weaker than that, but they don't. But we can have relic blades in the game, like, and we both agree. You can have a relic blade in the game. Doesn't
Yep.
ruin the game for anybody. It's fine.
Because it has like
Everybody
upsides and downsides, and it's like a choice you would make with certain builds. It's not a thing that would be auto include in every build, which are the things that I want removed from the game. Because I mean, my first and foremost interest in this game is making builds and stuff like that. And when there's no choice, when there's no question about which weapon it is it's going to be the include, that's when it gets really boring for me. So, you know, I think that's something that RBD does really well, which is like, yeah, it's the RBD Shock Maul, but you could also use the Skull Crusher on the Agony Shock Maul. You could also use the Tag Axes. They're very effective, and so are the Combat Axes. Like, there's lots of good weapons for the Chainsword on the RBDs, and it's got a nice, tight little kit with the number of weapons that it has, and it'll be easier for them to keep balance. So, yeah, just, like, they just need to keep an eye on it. But that's all I have to say. But I really appreciate talking to you.
Yeah, I really appreciate having you
And
on. It's been really nice.
look at all
Thank
the
you for
people
coming
that
by.
came
Thank
out
you
to
for your
talk about
audience.
Darktide and watch Darktide be talked about.
Yeah, I know.
Guys, they said this game was dead. Look at us now.
Right.
There's dozens of us.
There's dozens of us. So I'm gonna finish off the weapons component with you guys.
Yes.
So if
Go
anybody wants
over.
to come by,
Yeah,
and
anybody on
visit
my
and
stream you
talk
want to
me,
go hear Reginald ramble about weapons, he's very knowledgeable. You could actually learn something, and I'll sign off for the night. But love you guys.
Mystery, it was a
See you later.
pleasure. And congrats again on hitting
Original?
20. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know you worked hard.
Well,
So good job.
Thank you, man. And
Awesome.
congratulations on almost 30. You're getting there.
I guess I am.
You're almost there. I mean, it was like 2 weeks ago I saw your video being like, gosh, I'm almost at 25, and now look at you're like 28 plus. So
It's a very strange feeling to be.
It's a-
perfectly honest, 'cause
it's a good time.
I see myself as just some weird guy who likes Darktide a lot.
hey,
and
man, there's
plays the
not
games,
many of
but,
us left that have
It's
the
true.
cojones to get up here on the stage and love Darktide and show our love to the world. You need to stay in the space because I need someone else to talk to, or I'll go fucking insane. All right, appreciate you. Have
All
a
right,
good
man,
night,
have a
everyone.
great night. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Oh, and bye, stream. Sorry, I didn't sign off in the right way, but shh.